Hello! What's up? I see you've found that the emotes work. Is assuring? We're here. I think we should start channel predictions on who will win the featured match. You know what, Vex? That's a very good idea. Can't see the channel emotes. Do you not have 7 TV? Well, I'd want to put more than 30 minutes on it, but 30 minutes is the max. So I'm going to open up those predictions. So here you are. It is a feature matchup between the Portishead Ponyta and the Bradford Bulu. Of course, we do trust that the 3 people who have seen that replay will not be voting in it. So do keep an eye on the prediction to see if Harry does vote in that, because he shouldn't. Well, if he votes correctly, we will cancel him. If he votes incorrectly, as a debate, then that's okay. Though I think it'd be quite obvious that's what he's doing. Same goes for Tim. So that prediction is up for half an hour over there. Shall I move myself here? No, that way. No, that way. We're here. So you can probably see I've shifted things around just a little bit. Managed to create some space. Just temporarily. So now you're here on chat and on VODs, which is quite cool, I feel like. Maybe I should make you a bit bigger. But I don't think it's too bad. I could make you bigger. Not easy to read, but I think it's okay. You know what I'll do? I'll just drag you a little bit. I'll make it a little bit of a difference. There you are. That's not too bad, is it? Okay, well, we're here with week 12 of the Smiles Go for Miles Draft League. In terms of the matches that we're looking for today, they're the week 12 matches, or at least the ones that we got of them here in the Smiles Conference, which we are starting with on this Sunday. That's back-to-back Sunday streams. We are starting with the Smiles Conference because our featured match is from the Miles Conference, if you're just joining us. Any predictions on who will win that matchup? Check the channel point prediction. So, from the Smiles Conference, we are missing the Tampa Turtle against the Plymouth Pachirisu, meant to be happening today. The Cheshire Combies against the Lincoln Ludicolos, which was meant to happen this morning, but hasn't. And the Blazerkins versus the Tipperary Torterras, which to my knowledge will either happen tonight or tomorrow. So there you have it. We've got just 5 replays from the Smiles Conference, which means we're not going to have a perfect exact view on how things are going by the end of the stream, which is a bit frustrating. That's 3 missing replays is quite significant, but for the record, so you've got the picture of how things are going right now. There was a divide that has opened up at the 10th place mark. You got the Jersey Jolteons at 6 and 5 with 0 mon difference, and then a gap to the Manchester Magneton at 4 and 7. But they're not alone at 4 and 7. I need point out that last stream the Scunthorpe Scorbunny were at 2 and 7. They had 2 late games in order to be played, and congratulations, that is because, of course, Azazel is becoming a dad. So congratulations to him, and double congratulations because he played 2 off-stream games. The one against the Plymouth Pachirisu, which he won, and another against the Belfast Blazerkins, which he won. Now, if you really want to see them replays for the sake of bumping up the numbers of the Smiles Conference, I'm happy to rewatch them because, of course, they are significantly important replays. But in general, we don't watch late games because it's a sort of punishment for your game being late. So, those were quite significant results that came rolling on through. There was another late replay, and that was the Belfast Blazerkins against the Berkshire Bellossom, of which the Belfast Blazerkins won. So the standings are the Belfast Blazerkins alone in third, and a lot of 7 and 4. The Berkshire Bellossom sort of relegated to this club. It's a very happy club above what is a rather spiralling Bolton Boldore on a -4 win streak. They are right on the cusp of playoffs, and you know that Entei and the Jersey Jolteons are the big picks to try and overtake them. But very exciting is that our first game that we're meant to watch today, at least from this fresh week, is the Jersey Jolteons against the Manchester Magneton, which is just great. Because this is about as exciting as a match could get this week, to see whether the Magneton can pull the Jolteon within reach, because even so, the Jolteons would still be an even record, to try and bring themselves back into the playoff conversation. But of course, not far behind are the Scunthorpe Scorbunny, and technically the Plymouth Pachyrhysum and Lincoln Ludicolas have 4 wins on the board as well, but their Mon difference is less within touching distance. So yeah, as much as I kind of like to watch the stream, the games, I'm not going to. Maybe we will at the end, but frankly, I don't want to keep Tim waiting all day, because Tim, the coach of the Bradford Bulu, will be joining us as our final fixture, our featured match, and the match they played against the Borders Head Ponyta. If you've got a prediction on what's going to happen in that one, then check the channel. Point prediction. All right. Make the rift bigger, Atch. I need prediction. Hello, Casper. How you been? Good to see you. And Burger's nice. What's up, guys? Yes. So, in terms of the fixtures that we do have for the Smiles Conference, we got some great fixtures. We got the Berkshire Bellossom against the Bolton Boldore. The 2 teams currently in that playoff boundary, but one you know the Bolton Boldore desperately need to win. And likewise, the Berkshire Bellossom will awfully want this one as well in terms of the race, not just for top 4, but potentially top 2 as well. Long way to go in this season. We've got the 1 versus 2 as it stands. Myself, the Watford Wailords, up against the Vs Deino, who are 9 and 2. And if they want to win the conference, we'll be certainly targeting that game. Scotland Samurott play the Scunthorpe Scorbunnies. Scorbunnies in form and getting their games done on time suddenly. The Scotland Samurott currently bottoming out the teams that are present. This is a must-win. Leytonstone Lickilickys against the Entei is a bit more of a distant matchup, at least on paper. But the Leytonstone Lickilicky, I think, by many people's standards, have been a bit unfortunate this season. Maybe overshadowed by the RNG that the Jersey Jolteons have suffered. The Entei will look to make no mistakes, because they are certainly hoping for Bolton Boldore to be losing to the Berkshire Bellossom, which will move the Entei up into playoffs should they win. And then, of course, the matchup that we're starting the stream with here in the Smiles Conference, we heard enough about it. It's the Jersey Jolteons against the Manchester Magneton, and I'm happy to try and get stuck into it. Weekend has been great. I'm glad. You know, how great a conference is kind of affected by how on time its replays are. But ultimately, we're here for the gameplay. So, moving into this matchup, the Manchester Magneton against the Jersey Jolteons, and I'm excited to see when I find the correct source that I'm actually looking for. Here they are. What people brought, and here are the lineups. The Manchester Magneton bringing that Sun offensive core of Charizard Y and Venusaur. They've got the Milotic still, the Gardevoir, Flygon, and Kabutops. Now they're up against a Gliscor, Talonflame, Rodon Wash, Alolan Muck, Morwile, and Celebi. Okay, so the Gliscor's automatically very happy this matchup, and definitely a key mon, just because Kabutops isn't going to be able to threaten it as much with stab water type moves if the sun is up. Talonflame likewise will appreciate the sun and outspeeds everything on paper. In fact, the lineup brought by Manchester Magneton really lacking some pace. Outside of course, Chlorophyll Venusaur, so don't be surprised to see something like a Scarfed Gardevoir or Scarfed Flygon. I think there's no way that they let this Talonflame be the fastest thing on the field by default. But still, their Mons are fast enough to speed Mega Mawile. So I'm not sure how much Mawile is going to do other than try and get a predictive Swords Dance up and be a big threat with Sucker Punch. Alright. We like to win with Jaspy because Jaspy is our mate. The more I speak, the less confident I feel. Is Atch's RNG bad enough to lose? Well, indeed, Vin. Still by Jaspy on Showdown. We got plenty of time to watch this replay because there's not many Smiles replays to get through. So it's an opening of Celebi, a very bold one. And the Charizard is right there. And we're going to see a free Fire Blast blasted off as the Muck comes in. Or it could be Flamethrower, I guess, actually. It's Solar Beam. Wow. That was a huge prediction from the Magneton of the Rotom Wash to come in. Frankly, when you're a Charizard, there's not really many reasons not to click Fire Blast if you've got a free touch, and Poison Touch will proc on the Poison Jab. No surprise there. In comes a Flygon. Is it a U-turn or is it an Earthquake? It's a Dragon Dance. Okay, do we see some Z-Dragon coming in? I'm pretty sure we'll see Mawile coming in for Atch. Will we see prediction? It is Mawile. Is it a prediction this time? No, it's not. It's a Dragon Claw. There's no Z either. This is pretty problematic for Jaspy. Actually, certainly happy with these few turns. Sucker Punch is covered off. Is it Roost? It's Dragon Dance. I have a feeling that this Flygon does not have Roost, and it's going to die to Sucker Punch anyway. No, it may has Roost. It's Dragon Dance again. This is... Yeah, Sucker Punch has got 6 PP left. This isn't going to... Yeah. Alright, well, it's a first kill on the board for the Jersey Jolteons. It's a faultless battle from them so far, and in comes the Charizard. Maybe just a Sucker Punch to get off damage? Not to be. Apparently the Muck is able to come in. It's Fire Blast. A lot of damage. Too much damage. Absurd amount of damage. And 2 Fire Blasts hit. The Alolan Muck will go down. That is the power of Mega Charizard. Why? What's it going to be coming in? Rotom or Talonflame? It's Talonflame. And here is the Z. Gale Wings on the Brave Bird. 86%. What does Charizard have for this? Oh, the Roost. How did it live that Z Brave Bird is my question. I thought for sure it would have gone down. Not a high physical defense does Charizard have. As we're going to see another Roost. A free Swords Dance for a Talonflame that is still max HP. Is it going to be the Kabutops switch? I guess not, because it's not Scarfed or something and the sun is still up. So Gardevoir is going to be sacked. And Gliscor and Rotom are very happy about that. But no more Gale Wings for the Talonflame. Kabutops is going to come in. In comes Celebi. Stone Edge hits. Does 46%. And Celebi will look to force a switch now. A double, in fact, predicting a switch to Charizard, I think. But another Stone Edge. Kabutops was happy to just stay in. My goodness. A ballsy play by Jaspy, but it's one that's paid off because now there's another free water. It doesn't. Maybe it's choiced Kabutops. By the looks of that, no reason to switch otherwise. Well, in comes Charizard on the Gliscor, who can definitely take one. If assuming it's not just like offensive Gliscor. And it actually outspeed. Wait, what? This... What? Sorry, what? It roosted. This isn't Choice Scarf Gliscor. They were running max HP on Charizard. That's kind of cool. It makes sense to run some bulk in this matchup, right? But you need to outspeed Gliscor. Oh, that's costly. And the Charizard goes down. This could be game. It's Ice Fang from the Gliscor, also doing a significant amount. This is non-Mega Venusaur. The Leech Seed completely mitigated by Poison Heal. Is there any win condition that we can see left? Well, if it's a Choice Scarf Kabutops, I guess I can see it. The Milotic can beat the Mawile. And Stone Edge, if it keeps hitting and keeps critting, is the only out for the Magneton here. Talonflame is going to come in, and it's going to come in on a Giga Drain. Oh. No catch. As the Talonflame is going to Sword Dance in front of the Venusaur's face as it gets the Sleep Powder off. Will we see a double into Kabutops now? Not just a double, just a switch. Actually, it's Milotic, which is probably a free switch for Celebi or Rotom Wash. Whirlpool. We've got Whirlpool Milotic. Very cool. What's it got to follow up? A switch to Venusaur. And maybe Volt Switch just gets Rotom out of Whirlpool anyway. Either way, Venusaur comes back in quite happily. Will we see the Talonflame or will we see the Mawile on the Sludge Bomb prediction? But it's a crit Giga Drain. And this isn't over yet. Because Mawile's not too happy about this. Hidden Power Fire. Going to chip away. And suddenly Mawile in much more trouble. Went for a really greedy Swords Dance. There's the Sucker Punch. And down goes the Venusaur. No Leech Seed. What a play that could have been. Sucker Punch. Dodged out. For Haze. Alright. Well, this all comes down to the Kabutops inevitably anyway, as the Scald will take down the Mega Mawile. Still a 4v2, and Rotom is highly likely to clean up, if not Celebi, who is, as we know, out... What? Well, I don't know what the prediction was there. Unfortunately, frankly, the Stone Edge was going to have to crit the Celebi anyway, and I don't even know if a crit Stone Edge would have killed Rotom Wash, and it was going to have to crit Gliscor to kill as well. So three crit hit Stone Edges were required, and a fourth hit as well. So just surprising, really. The switch came through on the Kabutops, which was the only remaining out. Nice little bit of nasty plot. Baton Pass into the Rotom Wash, who puts in the work. Was it Scarf Rotom Wash? Quite possibly. Indeed, looking at the way it was played. Nice play from the Vs Jolteons. They will win 4-0 in our first matchup of the week. And the Manchester Magneton having to hold the L. That rift may just open up. Hello, Mr. Shimmer. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. And who have we got in our second matchup? It is the Entei against the Litten Stone Lickilicky. Let's get onto this. Yeah, if you're voting Harry in the featured matchup, clearly you just like channel points too much. We've seen some incredible Bradford Bulu games. There's nothing to say this won't be another one. So, our second matchup. Rookie team. What? They have these things grouped. It gets really confused. Oh my god, what is happening? Lane Stone Lickilicky are absolutely all over the place. What can I say? Oh my god. When your first tourney soon, you're terrible at Showdown, it's not going to end well. It's a Draft League Gen 9 Nat Dex. Oh my goodness. Let us know how that goes. In fact, do join exclamation point Discord and let us know how Gen 9 goes in draft format. Because I have a feeling it's going to be fun. This is Gen 7, which you may be able to tell. Alright. Leytonstone Glygars? Well, yeah, they're just chilling there all over the place. Thanks for the follow, Mr. Shimo. I am ready for the Tailwind Moltres. We have seen Tailwind Moltres a number of times from Mr. Raindrop himself. Maybe there's some damage to be done with the Empoleon combined with the Tailwind. I mean, the Mega Gallade is an unbelievable threat this matchup. Completely tears the Heatran Mega Venusaur core into two, but you can see exactly why, therefore, that the Cat Breakouts Entei have brought the Sableye, but it's such an obvious switch every single time that it now just comes down to what Sylveon's set is, because there's literally barely anything that Sableye can do to Sylveon. Obviously, there's easy and happy Hyper Voice switches. So therefore, the true breaker of the core for the latest Lickilickys is Moltres, with the likes of just Fire Blast or Flamethrower and Hurricane, but it's going to have to be running Hidden Power Ground for the Heatran. And if it is, then this should be a very, depending on Hurricane hitting and stuff, comfortable game. for the Starmie is not going to be able to do much to break through Empoleon and Sylveon. And Heracross is going to struggle to break through Palossand. The Latest Lickilicky have all the answers, and there is a Ninetales also chilling there. Maybe that's got Hidden Power Ground, but it's not going to really do much to Mega Venusaur other than set Aurora Veil up in front of it. Alright. Barely played Gen 9. If it was Gen 8, you'd be slightly more comfortable. Yeah, I don't even like Gen 8 that much. But we've played Gen 8 in the Draft League, and this is our 9th season of the Smiles Go for Miles Draft League. It's a fantastic community. 202 days in Duolingo. I'm currently learning Spanish, but I'm on about 120. So hey, learning Pokemon names in another language seems like a lot of effort, though, I have to say. Here we go, turn 1, and it's a Starmie opener for Cat against the Empoleon. Going to catch a Thunderbolt that does a lot more damage than I would expect. I guess it has got the Life Orb, and it's Sword Dance Empoleon. Wow, I guess it thought it would be forcing a switch. That is aggressive from Range Drop, but it is completely backfired on him. And there's going to be no Stealth Rocks or anything to speak of. That Empoleon pretty much fodder at this point, as it doesn't have the pace without the help of a Tailwind. So Sylveon is there, does pass the Wish up, and may look to go into the Empoleon, but it's really obvious it might just catch an Earth Power. We're going to see Gallade, as Stealth Rocks do go up. I want to see, maybe even a shame that Empoleon didn't come in there, but hey, Gallade is in. Does it have anything for Sableye? Surely not, right? Indeed, an easy Sableye switch. I mean, I guess Raindrop got the Mega off. Prankster Will-O-Wisp is allowed to connect with the Gallade. I mean, it does get the knockoff off, but now this is going to force Sylveon into a Heal Bell before Gallade can really do much. Although it says, you know what, screw it. I'm going to try and do it much, and I'm just going to go straight for the Sword Dance. This feels incredibly aggressive. What if he brought Foresight Mega Gallade? That would have actually been the play. Because then he could Drain Punch back up now. Since close combat probably isn't that 100% required in this matchup. And I mean, to be fair, with Pranks to recover, the knockoff probably wasn't going to kill the Sableye. But this looks ropey as fuck right now. I mean, to be fair, trying to Sword Dance through the burn attack drop is very alpha. I respect it. We're just 11 turns in. And suddenly, this could be a Sludge Bomb from the Mega Venusaur, given that it was in front of a Sylveon. It is. Ninetales is not going to get poisoned. Will recover a bit with the Wish, but I have to say, this battle couldn't have gone much better so far for Cat and the Entei. They will be loving life right now. The Aurora Veil does go up. This is what it's going to be. It's going to be a 6-0 for the Entei. They're the 6-0 masters. They lose 6-0 and they win 6-0. They want another one to the collection. And right now, this Mega Venusaur defeats absolutely everything that is left on the Latest Lickilicky side other than Moltres. It literally 1v5s. Psychoquack and Aquaquack. I see why not many French people play Pokemon. I mean, to be fair, they do. So, here is Sylveon tanking up another Sludge Bomb and will be poisoned by it. Would we see the Heal Bell? No, we don't see the Heal Bell, and now it's got double reason to Heal Bell. Tanks up the Sludge Bomb. You see it now? There it is. Okay. Back and stabilized, but lots of damage has been done. And the rocks are still up. In comes the Moltres. Hard switch. Takes 50% from the rocks. Gets Leech Seeded on the switch. Here comes Heatran to tank a Hurricane of sorts. And it's going to be Defog to get rid of the rocks. Does it have Hidden Power Ground? It's going to Roost. As we see the rocks just go back up. This is really rough for the Lickilicky. Substitute Moltres. And Magma Storm misses. Okay, but that means it can't have Hidden Power Ground. Defog, Roost, Substitute, and Hurricane has to be the last move. Okay, I mean, this is quite cool, but I don't know. It's so sad when you're running like Substitute and Roost and you're forced to run Defog as well. Hurricane will hit. There's no confusion. Will Heatran... Well, it tries to predict with the Earth Power, does Cat. But it has leftovers. I don't know. Hurricane does have 16 PP, right? It's not 8. It is. The confusion comes through. Maybe there's a chance. Heatran getting worn down. I mean, it's still 6 versus 6. On paper, we haven't had a kill yet, and it's 25 turns into the battle. But the battle feels over to me. Flash Cannon doesn't break the sub, so Heatran is forced to go for some sort of Earth Power predictions. Go Chicken Tendies. Well, it switches out into Palisand as the confusion ends, and the rocks do go up. Shadow Ball connects with the Mega Venusaur. Gets the Spadef drop. That's significant. And it just Giga Drains for 69% as Palisand Earth Powers. Thought it might set up some rocks. Does do a lot of damage with Earth Power, but it's a dead Sandcastle as it stands right now. Sylveon's going to come in, but it's so sad. The Entei have been... The most amount of damage that's been done to the Entei is the fact that 2 syntheses have been used. This core has been very much unrocked. Still 6v6 versus at turn 30. Must be an Entei's game. Yep. The slow wearing down until it all collapses and then gets about 6 kills in the space of 10 turns, probably. Maybe with like Scarf Heracross. Giga Drain's going to kill the Empoleon. It cannot live. A Giga Drain from 24%. The offensive Empoleon was really, really cool. Imagine turn 1. Starmie switches out. Ooh, that crit mattered. As the kills are maybe happening right now. In fact, it looks like they're all coming through now. But that critical turn was honestly turn 1. Starmie staying in and getting that Thunderbolt off. 42% is the damage from Supersonic Sky Strike. I just feel like if it's Hurricane, HP Ground, Sub Roost, Moltres, and it's a bulky Empoleon with Defog, this game is completely different. Which is why I'm surprised Starmie did stay in turn 1, and I have to commend Raindrop for trying to get that Swords Dance play off. Because maybe Starmie's happy to stay in because it can rapid spin any rocks that are set up, but with a Life Orb, you don't feel good rapid spinning. Maybe that's why it was potentially like Defog Gligar. And then I guess Empoleon doesn't threaten Starmie, so it is a free Thunderbolt. On what he probably predicted, Cat probably predicted was just going to be some Stealth Rocks from the Empoleon. And it is actually going to be, it's going to be a 6. I've only just noticed that it is indeed 6-0. From the Entei. They add another one to their collection, and that is huge in their pursuit of playoffs. It's a shame for the Leighton Stone Lickilicky because it feels like it was so close to being a dramatically different result. 6-0 is maybe not fair, but that's what you get when you can't break the Heatran, Mega Venusaur, Sableye. The Prospector was the prime suspect here in taking down that Mega Gallade. 6-0 it will be. Some much needed Mon difference for the Entei as well. They will be lapping that up. That is Cat's 5th 6-0 involvement this season. Subson knows that because of our super cool Kahoot that we ran last week. I have to admit I didn't make a Kahoot for today, sadly. I was too busy playing around with the overlay and rearrangement that you see now. But hey, I'm sure we'll have another one. So we've got the Scunthorpe Scorbunny. And they are going up against the Scotland Samurott. This is a very important matchup if these two franchises are going to start a late season comeback. I'm excited for this game. Alright. There is a Haunter on the field. What's this Haunter doing? Some sort of Sash Destiny Bond? Or is it just Choice Scarf and hoping that Kartana and Blacephalon aren't Scarf? In fairness, it's very unlikely that both of them are. Wooper. Gen 1. Whoa! Unbelievable. Wooper's so cool it deserves to be a Gen 1 Pokemon. Alright. There's a Bastiodon, a Machamp, Rotom Heat, we got the Celesteela and the Mega Altaria. So the primary Scotland Samurott offense we've seen recently has been through the setting up of the Mega Altaria and the Beast Boost snowballing of the Celesteela, but it's not come off as much in recent weeks, and things haven't gone great. Also, the Togedemaru is back from the Scunthorpe Scorbunny. If you saw their 2 games of the previous weeks that were late, you'll notice that there actually was no Togedemaru in those games, but what is surprising to me is it doesn't say level 1 next to it. So this is a level 100 Togedemaru. I can't help but think it's Iron Barbs for like the Altaria, but the Altaria it does get Earthquake, so this could be interesting. And it does outspeed after 1 Dragon Dance, I believe, once it's Mega. So, that should be exciting though. The Araquanid is there, and the Mega Ampharos has also come to the party. The Crobat is in favour. But the Bastiodon looks like it could be a problem unless there is some taunt Crobat. This Bastiodon does look like an annoyance. Hello, Diane Fox. Welcome to the stream. So, let's see what the turn 1 is here. And the Scorbunny open up with the Kartana against the Haunter. Haunter immediately switches out. Doesn't tell us too much about it. We see a knockoff do a huge amount to Celesteela. It's a choice Scarf Celesteela. Life Orb revealed on the Kartana, and it's able to just clean up. The Celesteela is down immediately. Fantastic play to knock off, but of course it was always going to be super effective against Haunter anyway. Haunter comes back in. I guess it is Scarfed, as Azel doesn't switch out, and he's going to lose the Kartana. Suddenly we're level, and there's 2 kills already within inside 3 turns. I can't believe that the Araquanid didn't come in, but that's okay. There's the Togedemaru coming in for the Nuzzle. But I have to say, Brick, the Bastiodon, doesn't really care about being paralyzed too much, and as long as it breaks through. Reveals the leftovers. We see the Ampharos come in as the rocks do go up, and this is nice from the Scotland Samurott. Gets the Mega off. There's no ground type to block this Volt Switch, and off it comes here with the 30% damage. Bastiodon very tanky, happy to take that. Crobat forced in, probably wants to defog, I guess. And it does block a Toxic. Predicted or not, it's a nice play. But the leftovers doing work here. Bastiodon is a huge problem, and we see just U-turn from the Crobat. Doesn't defog away the rocks, and suddenly Ampharos is forced back in. And it's forced back out with the Roar. A beautiful use of Roar. As you gotta love Roar Whirlwind when you've got hazards up. A huge amount of damage with Fire Blast, but it's not enough. Ampharos comes back in. It should be able to pick up the kill this time. Bastiodon will go down, having set the rocks up and done a significant amount of damage. That's a lovely bit of usage of the tier 5 right there. So Togedemaru comes in. And yep, here is the Earthquake Boy of Mega Altaria. Oh, it's outsped. It didn't Mega because it didn't. And then like keep the natural cure in case. Well, Teko is going to use that natural cure. I thought it would just see a Mega and an Earthquake, but then I guess maybe Teko thought that Togedemaru would switch out. As the Liquidation rips through the Haunter. Rotom Heat now, the one to get the Volt Switches off, and down goes Michael Bublé. Yeah, I mean, you can't Bublé. Anyway, here is the Blacephalon. It's in. Here comes the Rotom Heat. Hyper Beam? Must recharge, but it's a free Dragon Dance for Altaria. That's fantastic, but also, what have you done? And the Dragon Dance is here. Crobat is the only thing that can stop this, but after another set of rocks damage, I don't know if it's going to. Altaria could just win now. Togedemaru comes in, but it's outsped. It gets shredded by Earthquake. No, it's not outsped. It's Scarf, and Altaria isn't max speed. Oh, wait, Altaria's 284. It is Scarf Togedemaru. I thought Altaria hit 328. It got flinched by the Iron Head. Oh, my God. The Iron Head flinch. Winning the battle. And another flinch on the Machamp. Oh, my God. Scarf Togedemaru. I can't even be mad, but the Iron Head flinching. Oh. Oh my god. Because Crobat dies to return or frustration unless it's like super bulky after rocks. I mean, maybe it lives. Maybe it lives. Maybe it lives. I don't know the Crobat set. Tecco forfeits. It's been a couple rough weeks for the Scotland Samurott. I wish I got to see some more Iron Heads. As the Togedemaru clean up. Scarf Togedemaru with Nuzzle. Watch out for it, because it's coming for you in your nightmares. It's a third win in a row for the Scotland... It's not for the Scotland Samurott. For the Scunthorpe Scorbunny. Similar names. Similar locations, although not that close. In the what game? How can you be in the league? Well, I just recommend Diane Fox. Keep on tuning to the streams here. We tend to stream on Sundays. But mainly join exclamation point Discord and get yourself the Draft League role. We talk about the games. We talk about plays. And you can find all the links to the spreadsheet. History, of course. I don't know if we have the history spreadsheet pinned anywhere. If you want to see previous seasons and all the replays from that and playoffs and finals from older series. Because we've been running this league since about late 2017, early 2018. I actually don't remember which. With a gap. True with a gap. True with a gap. With a gap. How long was the gap? I don't really remember. I love how the Nightbot even has the emote. Exclamation point Draft League. As Smiles Go for Miles is a Draft League. This is a competitive Pokemon battling format in which teams draft a roster of Pokemon from different tiers of power level to use over a season of league play, culminating in a playoffs at the end. Discord if you're interested in joining for future seasons. Just a single spreadsheet. That is for the current season. And actually, I guess you have a Hall of Fame as a bit of history. Eve, please win. Sorry. This was a dramatic battle. So, this is a tense matchup. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how much I should talk about this match. But this was first versus second as it stood in the Smiles Conference. Myself, the Watford Wailords, against Flupkey, the Dns Deino. The Dns Deino lost just their fourth match last week to the Arnhem Appletons. They've never lost 2 matches in a row. But last time we met last season, I was that first and only loss last season. So there's a bit of pressure on me because I come into this matchup unbeaten, but also pressure on Flupkey to sort of pull me within touching distance and inevitably overtake me when I lose to the Jersey Jolteons later in the season. So there's a Fortress that has come to the party. There's a Noivern. No Gengar. Probably out of fear of being pursuit trapped from what I gather. But the Hoopa is a huge problem. There's not many Mons that can switch into Hoopa safely. Scrafty is probably one of the best Mons in the game at switching into Hoopa. But it's still not very safe to do it with the likes of Drain Punch and Focus Blast, depending on its set and spread. You're talking about the game versus Bella? I mean, we might watch the late games later, but we don't usually watch late games on stream. So, yeah. No Manectric, because obviously Mudstale exists, and I bring a Selgor because the Selgor is really good this matchup. It's so fast, it outspeeds Scarf Hoopa. So that is a massive pain in the ass for Flupkey because it's by 1 speed. Scarf Hoopa hits 426. How long is this league? About 5 months. We're over halfway through it, but we have 2 conferences of 18 teams each at the start. Though now it's 17 teams each, as we've had 2... what do you call it? Extenuating circumstances. Rare circumstances. Dropouts are not common, but I guess at least we've had 1 in each conference rather than 2 in one and none in the other. So yeah. What gap the stream is still going to be 2 hours long. I'm just chatting to you guys. I'm not even analysing the games. I'm just talking about other stuff that isn't the games. So anyway, this was a fast replay. I open up with Chandelure because I don't want to give a free opening to Fortress. And Flupkey does open Fortress, which allows me to get some chip damage off. As Noivern comes in. Could be Scarf Noivern. I could be Scarf Chandelure, but I'm not. So I switch out into Diggersby, and someone has to take the hit for this thing. It's Z Noivern. It's a Z Hurricane, I would assume. Chonks for 71%. And it's still at 41%, which means it lives the quick attack at 9%. And Boom Burst allows it to get the first kill of the battle. Diggersby immediately down. In I go to a Selgor. It kind of sucks. It's nice that it's low, so I can click U-turn and punish any switch, but it's unfortunate because I have to U-turn and reveal that I'm Life Orb, and I now immediately give switch initiative to Flupkey, so he gets to pick what he opens up with into the Chandelure. So Mudsdale comes in. If this thing isn't Max Spadef AV, then it's not going to live this Z Bloom Doom, and it's Max Spadef AV. Chandelure is dead, and this is not good, because what also apparently counts as an attacking move is a previously used move by Flupkey last season. With Surf not picking up the kill on Mudsdale, it has Endeavour. So now Tapu Fini is effectively dead as well, and Mudsdale has just carved me a new rectum. So down goes Mudsdale, eventually to the Moonblast, and Tapu Fini is going to go down to Mega Lopunny, who is allowed to get its Mega off for free. So this entire game has now boiled down to a Selgor versus the entire fucking world, because Scrafty and Ferrothorn don't really do much. I mean, it's nice to have Scrafty still for the Hoopa, but I know nothing about the Hoopa. It's not even come onto the field yet, and Endeavour has just chalked me off. So a Selgor comes in. I have to hit Focus Blast. I have no choice but to click it. And I hit Focus Blast, and that's a huge amount of damage, Fortress, without the special defense, but I also have no choice but to click Focus Blast again, because I have to click it. I don't have enough power. I hit 2 Focus Blasts in a row, and Fortress goes down. If rocks go up there, or Gyro Ball hits me, I'm instantly dead, and the game is over. So Lopunny comes in, as it can basically one-shot me with Fake Out, and I'm running Protect for that exact reason. And I could click Focus Blast, but I don't want to let Hoopa or Blastoise in for free, so I just end up U-turning out, because I know I can try and Iron Barbs the Lopunny if it stays in and has Quick Attack, but of course I assume it doesn't have Quick Attack in this sense, although I was out of range temporarily. Flupkey ends up effectively sacking the Hoopa. I think he knows it can't outspeed a Selgor, which is a dream. I hope for a high jump kick, but a high jump kick is not a thing. It's Fire Punch Lopunny, who does a huge amount of damage. Iron Barbs goes off. I don't have any Rocky Helmet, though. I Gyro Ball for a huge amount of damage, and this is nice because it means I don't have to hit another Focus Blast, assuming that it doesn't have Drain Punch, but it does have Drain Punch, so now it heals up, and I have to try and hit another Focus Blast. So the entire battle effectively comes down to this turn here. So I click Focus Blast, and I hit 3 Focus Blasts in a row, which is just ridiculous. So Blastoise is going to come in. I was expecting this thing to be like Z Focus Blast or Z Aura Sphere. But it can't be Z because I have Noivern. I saw Noivern have Z. So Flupkey's been absolutely scammed this game, frankly. Scald will not burn the Scrafty, who is able to simply wear down the Blastoise. And I'm going to get the win. And that is all a Selgor. Hitting every single Focus Blast under the sun. I think it's about 30% to hit 3 in a row. It's like I won the game off a Scald burn, effectively. But it's a shame because, aside from me running Protect on a Selgor, I didn't really do a lot. Flupkey played this battle definitely a lot better than I did. And with the Endeavour Mudsdale, probably deserved it. But his matchup isn't great to me, simply because of a Selgor. That's basically the only reason why. And I take the battle 2-0. So now we have the Appletons. Of course, the team that beat the Jens Deino last week, and an incredibly informed team. We don't have the Appletons. What am I saying? I clicked the logo next to the Bellossom Help. They're next to each other alphabetically. And they're both green. Just making excuses at this point. Sniper with the tier 2 for 59 months. I haven't had a chance because I'm looking at the logos.
It's not appropriate to brag about your skills or accomplishments in a competitive game. It's important to remember that everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, and it's more important to have fun and respect your opponents than it is to be the best player.
Yeah. It is. Why does grouping things make them absolutely messed up? Okay. Thank you for the 59 months, Sniper. And the fact that it's tier 2 as well is kind of wild and a very cool sub-message that a lot of our, well, not a lot, some of our players could use with taking to heart. There's a bear tick on my screen here with the Bolton Boldore currently losing 4 games in a row, having been at the top of the conference in free fall. They desperately need this game, but I feel like they've got a decent chance at it. It's a hyper-offense team as you'd expect from the Berkshire Bellossom, but it doesn't like being outsped, and there's 2 Swift Swim Mons and a Politoed, and there's not much bulk in order to stand in the way of it. So Bolton Boldore, there's no excuse. The Ditto as well. This is a tough battle for the Berkshire Bellossom, but on the bright side, they are higher in the conference as it stands, and this would be a huge win for them to get. They're going to have to mask any choice scarfs and play their items well. The Mega Garchomp has come to the club. Of course, there's pretty much ice coverage on nearly every Mon, other than Ditto and Tangrowth. So it's not going to be an easy time for the Rocky Boy. But no Kucha, no Coco, no Lucha, no Pert. Of course. But then everything on the Bolton Boldore's draft is kind of a threat. So it's not like it's blown away when they don't come, because some of them are going to have to not come. But I guess the significant thing is Beartic coming instead of the Swampert. But I guess Beartic is just better against Serena and Garchomp. Coco does bits. Well, not against Jolteon. It has to be like physical. And it doesn't have a great physical moveset. Maybe if it's like Banded U-turn or something. Then yeah, it does do bits, I guess. Does it outspeed Psychopath Greninja when it goes hyper mode? I don't know if it gets faster. Anyway. Garchomp is here. Draco Meteor, it's special Garchomp. As Icicle Crash in return, Beartic takes the hit and takes down the Mega. Of course, probably one of the less important kills in the battle, but a huge kill to get nonetheless. And the fact that there's no Stealth Rocks up, unless Azelf is running it. Dark Pulse does 40% to Vaporeon. Is that Specs Greninja? Isurdo will know at this point. Fishing for the flinch is Greninja. Not to be, it's Wish. And assuming it's running Protect, should be completely fine. Greninja, will it switch out? Actually stays in and catches Alfred. Potentially getting greedy. Did Alfred go for a cheeky Scald? And yes, Greninja does get even faster and therefore outspeeds a potential. Tapu Koko, it's Z. Devastating Drake. Crits for 85%. A huge crit because now it's in Ice Beam range. That is so unfortunate for the Berkshire Bellossom, who are going to lose their Serena, who's a massive mon in this matchup. Protect on the Kingdra. And it's a free light screen for Jolteon, in fact. This Discharge will go off. No paralysis on the Tangrowth, who wants to Earthquake, but I doubt it's going to bother. It's probably going to be a knockoff as Mienshao comes in. It's a Power Whip for 88%. And now we see U-turn start to work away at this Tangrowth, but Tangrowth's such a big sponge. As back in comes the Jolteon on a Power Whip miss. But again, Tangrowth does not fear this Jolteon, so it's just going to keep clicking Power Whip, and Mienshao's going to come back in. Although this time it's knockoff. Okay, well the Scarf is gone, but the Mienshao is not dead, so in has to come Politoed and set up the rain. Light screen's still up for 2 more turns after this. U-turn is free. Mienshao working its way back up. Ash Greninja comes in, looking for another victim because Politoed can't really retaliate with much, especially while the light screen is up. 57% from Big Malem. The Toxic goes on to the Ash Greninja. There is no switch into this other than Ditto temporarily. Maybe once, maybe twice. On Dark Pulse at least. The rain is set up. So if it is like Hydro Pump Greninja, and it's not choiced, then it can hit pretty hard. Well, here's the Kingdra. Can only take one hit, as long as it doesn't flinch, but it does outspeed thanks to Swift Swim, and pick up a kill with Draco Meteor. Mienshao will go down, but Kingdra with a half special attack here in this crazy 15-turn shootout. Azelf comes in. And Beartic is going to be sacked off. We're down to a 3v3. No rocks from the Azelf, just Psychic. What's going to come in? It's Kingdra. Now resetting, looking to claim another soul with Hydro Pump, and it hits. Down goes Azelf. Jolteon in. Still the rain is up. Hydro Pump misses the Jolteon. And Light Screen goes up, and there's no way to refresh the rain. So the speed is now on the side of the Berkshire Bellossom. Tangrowth comes in immediately, knowing it's going to need all the regenerator help that it can get. A Volt Switch into the Greninja is going to force the Ditto in as well. Does Bella predict it and go for the U-turn, or risk the Tangrowth staying in? This is the turn that the battle surely is decided. It's Dark Pulse. Maybe it doesn't have U-turn. It does so much damage, but you'd expect this to be Scarfed Greninja. If it doesn't have U-turn, then in fact Bella's still fine. But no, Jolteon comes in. It's definitely Choice Specs Greninja, and it is U-turn Greninja. I don't know if Bella can win this now, with the Tangrowth being so high HP, and the Ditto inevitably being able to U-turn on the Greninja. Earthquake is going to clean up the Jolteon, and the Boltund Boldores are going to take it, certainly, especially with the help of the toxic damage. Tangrowth is going to be flinched, so maybe there's a chance of some Mon difference. Indeed, down goes the Tangrowth. And it's simply cleaned up by Scarf U-turn. Oh, Kingdra is going to come in instead, going to risk itself getting Dark Pulse flinched. Oh, of course, it does have Protect for the very unusual momentary toxic stall that you wouldn't expect in a game like this, but an effective one nonetheless. Dark Pulse does do 90%. Oh my god, an Ice Beam puts it into the final toxic range. A 2-0 scoreline, a critical win for the Boltund Boldore to stop that loss streak, and it keeps the Berkshire Bellossom right in the playoff pack in the Smiles Conference. I believe, indeed that is, all the replays in the Smiles Conference for this week. Here we are. So this was the standings before our 5 replays. Reminder, we are missing the Tampa Turtwig against the Plymouth Pachirisu, and the Balefast Blazekins against the Tipperary Torterras, and the Cheshire Combies against the Lincoln Ludicolo. So there are going to be 6 teams within the standings who are not updated. Remember that. Tampa Turtwig, Plymouth Pachirisu, you got the Belfast Blazekins, Tipperary Torterras, and Cheshire Combies, all currently as it stood in playoffs. And the Lincoln Ludicolo, who are a very informed team right now, despite being further down the pecking order as it stood. Here we go. So, the standings is the Waffle Wailords from the Litten Vs Deino and the Belfast Blazekins with a chance to go second if they win against the Tipperary Torterras. But the Tipperary Torterras with a win would go from 9th to 5th. Unless the Cheshire Combies also win, at which point it would be 6th for the Tipperary Torterras. Berkshire Bellossom and the Entei both hard tied on 11 Mon difference. It's also 7-5 for the Boltund Boldore. It's 7-5 for the Jersey Jolteons as well. And that bridge and that gap is still there, but it's the 5 and 7 Scunthorpe Scorbunny who are now the closest and will remain the closest regardless of the following results that are yet to be played, because the best of Plymouth Pachirisu can manage is a -7 on the Mon difference. And of course, the Scunthorpe Scorbunny recently beat them, so they have the head-to-head as well. Leytonstone Lickilicky and the Scunthorpe and the Scotland Samurott are the ones who find themselves at 3 and 9. You've got to be pretty unfortunate to find yourself at 3 and 9 and yet at the bottom of a conference effectively. But that's what happens when, you know, this conference is as stacked as the Smiles Conference is. So the Tampa Turtwig could maybe move up with a win. They'd get past the Lickilickys with a 6-0 win. They'd get past the Lincoln Ludicolos depending on their result. Against it, and the Plymouth Pachirisu as well. So there's a lot of flexibility below the Scorbunnies as well. But the real eyes have to be on everything going on in terms of the playoff contention as well. Battles for top 2, battles for top 4, and everyone seemingly at 7 and 5. You would probably expect the Cheshire Combies to move to 8 and 4 against the Lincoln Ludicolo, so it's not a given. But as for the Belfast Blaziken against the Tipperary Torterras right now, that is anyone's guess and will certainly be the matchup that most people are excited to watch off stream when it happens, of course, because it will be late. I will be able to watch it, so that is the side benefit, I guess. Although I prefer watching them on stream, I have to say. And then we've got the Plymouth Pachirisu and the Tampa Turtwig, of which the winner will be far happier. Sigmoid could get top 10 in smiles. So we move on to the Miles Conference, which after last week was looking like this. You got the Merseyside Mimikyu up at 10 and 1, the only 10-win team, understandably with just the 1 loss, and that's from week 1. They're on a 10-win streak, and it's kind of going to be 11, but it's also not going to be 11 because they have a bye this week against the Newcastle Nimble. So no matter what, they remain at the top of the conference in this boring conference. So it's down to the Buckingham Bonsly and Stockminer Starmies to try and make things interesting. Do they play each other this week? I'm not sure. Yes, they actually do. So maybe there'll be some excitement for once. The Gloucestershire Gallade at 8 and 3, and then you've got 3 teams basically already safe at 7 and 4. Although the Super Hoopa trying not to be safe with a -2 win streak and only 6-1 difference. Ariana's Altarias, the opposite problem. They're on the 6 and 5 club, the extended 6 and 5 club, with a 17-mon difference, joined by the Nottingham Noivern, Liverpool Litten, and Amsterdam's Aggron. But don't count out the Yorkshire Yanma and the Red Hill Regirock, because they are still not too far away either, although poor luck for the Red Hill Regirock in recent times, to combine with a slow start to the season, has left them with a lot to do on their mon difference as well. So the Yorkshire Yanma, probably the real dark horse right now. As for the Litwicks, they're Shitwicks. After the Bulus, we're going to talk to Tim later. And the Cotswold Clefairys and the Fishpond SuperRods are having a great time, I hope. So, I have the replays open. And our first matchup is going to be, I think we work our way up from... Maybe we work our way down from the top. I'm not sure, yeah, because the Bradford Bulu against Ported Head Ponyta. Our featured matchup is at the bottom. And 30... I've looked at the channel point prediction, by the way, and 95% of the channel points went on the Portishead Ponyta. Christ. Right. Don't really stand to gain anything when the odds are like that, though. You know? I feel like the Bradford Bulu are very much undervalued there. So here are the Leeds Litwicks. We, during the first half of a season, are usually asking ourselves which Litwicks we are going to get in each season. And yes, definitively this is a Shitwicks season. Maybe they can end it on a good note, though. We are far from the end of the season, but they would need a miracle run to make the playoffs. So now it's all about flexing on their opponents, being a spanner in the works, and winning with cool sets. And the thing is that is what the Shitwicks are good at. And in fact, this is when you really don't want to play them. You want to play the Litwicks when they've got hope and look like they might be playing well, because if they look like they are, then they're not. Whereas now, you start to count them out, and actually this is when they peak and play insane. So, Sgfm Mimes and Tangent Yeti could be in trouble. They've brought the Mantine, I think, as just a general all-round decent switch into the likes of Reuniclus and Hydreigon, and potentially a special Aegislash as well. And I guess Blastoise too. So the Mantine's pretty cool here. You've got the Espeon coming, just as maybe making this Galvantula think whether it wants to put Sticky Web down or not. But that's about it. In terms of actual votes, it's only 6-5 for Harry. Yeah, but it's all about the amount of channel points at the end of the day. You know, I don't care about the person raising their little hand up and going, I voted for Tim. I put 20 channel points in. You know? The sad thing is they're still going to get tons if they win now. Anyway. So, who will be opening up? We saw Mega Ordino pretty much do the entire battle of work itself last week, and I worry that that might be the case again. I mean, Mega Medicham can absolutely break through the Mega Ordino, and the right Aegislash set can, but I'm not so sure about everything else. So, with limited V-Create switch-ins, this does look pretty okay for Yeti, but we'll have to see what the Litwicks can make of this. It is a Galvantula opener, straight into Espeon, as we see a Shadow Ball turn 1. Will it be a Bug Buzz return and kill? Oh, a Tanga Berry! And the Bald Cat will live. In comes Hydreigon to tank the Shadow Ball, but it's a Dazzling Gleam! Oh, dear. Yawn Espeon! What have I watched? Flash Cannon will kill it. It's going to force another switch. A miraculous opening from the Espeon there. Beautiful play by Yeti. The perfect bait with the Tanga Berry Espeon. That was fucking awesome. And now Ordinary will get the Mega off. Here comes the Z. Gigavolt Havoc. And it does 37%. Fire Blast hits. Down goes Galvantula. And, yeah, this is something. Toxic from the Aegislash means it's not the sort of set that can break through Mega Ordino. So Mega Ordino winning until Mega Medicham comes in, and it's Leech Seed and Air Slash, the nice passive, but very annoying Celesteela set. Scald will not burn it and not do much either, given the fact that it is raining thanks to a cool Rain Dish, Rain Dance Blastoise that starts to counter Victini. Is actually a very cool tech. It's a shame that I don't think it's going to come to much. So 3.2 like Tractor. Having a great time here. Setting Leech Seed on Marinicus, though, although maybe just wanted to scout if it is Magic Guard. Gets the free Trick Room off, and a Protect will waste the turn of the Trick Room, and Rain Dance also synergizing with Thunder on Marinicus, who, of course, gets no access to Thunderbolt. Hideout Focus Blast would have killed, but it's a nice attempt of predicting the switch of the Crocodile, but frankly, Celesteela just wants to cause as much nuisance as possible before it goes down. Maybe Yeti switches cockily here. No, he won't. But Fadia's complete dedication to predicting the Crocodile coming in, and you have to respect that. But in fact, Celesteela's going to pick up another kill here and get to +2. So now it's time for Mega Medicham to come in and then die to a Scarf Victini or Crocodile. Oh, it's actually got Substitute. Does it not have Fake Out? Wait, if it doesn't have Fake Out, it's just going to have to... Here comes Victini, and... there it goes. All right. Well, Tangent Yeti and the Multicube Mimes are going to take the win. No King Shield attempt from the Aegislash. It just accepted. Maybe it didn't have... I mean, I'm sure it had King Shield. But hey, a bit unfortunate. I think turn 1 was just so beautifully engineered by the Multicube Mimes that it had the Leeds Litwicks spiraling from that point onwards. Right. Now we have the Cotswold Clefairy against the Yorkshire Yanma. Now, this is the exact sort of fixture that the Yanma would want on paper to try and continue their good run of form, but in reality, is that going to be how it works out? Because the Cotswold Clefairy have looked very threatening at times, but in actual fact, it ended up being all bark and little bite. So, there's a fuck ton of bite on Mega Charizard X and Hoopa Unbound. So how much damage can they do with the likes of Congeldor and Eel here to try and sponge up some damage and turn things over? Well, there's reliable recovery between the Palossand and the Florges, so I think it's fair to say that this should be a very close battle either way. Let's get it kicked off. We've got the Cobalion on the opener, looking to try and set some rocks or get some early offense in. Well, it's Mew here, who's going to be outsped, and Ironhead is clicked on the Mew, although it takes basically nothing. As Cobalion has never really had the best offensive stats anyway, the rocks will go up, and rocks will effectively be traded. But of course, Jota now does know that the Mew is leftovers. Are leftovers revealed on the Cobalion as well? No. Okay. Curious to see what item that is. Rotom Wash comes in and gets Toxic. A lovely, very ballsy prediction from Icy, of course, knowing that Jota was expecting another Earthquake. Should be a free Volt Switch from the Rotom, though, who'll be quite happy to get out of here with Toxic on it. Does go for the Hydro Pump, but that's going to be sponged up well by Assault Vest Eel. No reason to basically ever run another item on the thing. Volt Switch will chip away on the Eel, and of course you don't want that Eel having high health. Nice to get it off the field as quickly as possible. Ow! Mega Charizard just tanking the Stealth Rocks with its face. And it's going to go for it. Does it start to Dragon Dance immediately because it's going to need to, or does it simply roost off the rocks damage? It is Dragon Dance immediately, and this is about to do some damage. If it's got the Dragon Claw, does it think it lived, or does it think Scarfed Garchomp? Because Icy has Mega Garchomp. Joda, potentially with an oversight here, I think she probably just expected Scarfed Garchomp. Or maybe just predicted Klefki to come in. Maybe predicted Klefki to come in. But then, if you're predicting Klefki to come in, why not kill Klefki with, like, Flare Bits or Fire Punch? I don't know. We'll learn more about the Charizard set as the battle goes on. It's Ancient Power Palossand. I would love to see this thing get the boost, although Conkeldurr is in and probably wants to do a bit of knockoff bonking. So in comes Florges. Probably doesn't take knockoff even too happily either, and really doesn't like losing its leftovers. That's why knockoff is such an annoying move. I thought there's a very small chance we saw the Cobalion for that justified +1, but even with a +1, it kind of tickles Conkeldurr. Moonblast is there. Does Florges outspeed and pick up the kill on Eel? It does. First kill of the battle goes the way of the Cotswold Clefairy regardless, but their Charizard and primary Wincon is very much low after Rock's damage. The Thunder Wave revealed by the Klefki. No surprises there. Is it Poison Jab on the Conkeldurr? No. We just see a switch back to Klefki. On a Moonblast. Okay, a bit of chip. And Klefki is going to show us that it is not leftovers. And Thunder Wave will go off. And Moonblast is giving a fair bit of damage to Klefki. A Mon without reliable. Oh, it has Calm Mind. But can it get enough off at this point? Well, Florges has pretty decent HP, but it's mainly its Spadef that does the heavy lifting. With its butt. 9%. Oh, the paralysis. And now the Calm Mind is going to go back up. That is really unfortunate for Joda, actually. That paralysis making all the difference. And suddenly, this thing is... Oh, no. Can this thing be beaten? I don't know. It's going to come down to Charizard, who's going to get Prankster T-Waved anyway. And last time we saw this set from Icy, it was actually running Iron Defense as well with Prankster. Well, here comes Cobalion, though. This is effectively a sack. And the problem is that Klefki is going to get back up to full effectively. And the Klefki with Iron Defense, it does have it. We saw it give some real scares. And the win over the Stock Martinez Starmies. Oh, Iron Head with a crit. Does it flinch? No, it doesn't. And it's a huge amount of recovery for the Klefki. And actually, Cobalion switches, but it's dead to rocks on re-entrance. And now Klefki's going to get more HP back from the Palossand. And Earthquake... Oh, it doesn't do enough. I mean, this is a terror of a set that Icy has started whipping out here in the second half of the season. And you can see why. This thing is barring a crit, going to get 6 kills and the Klefki. A dangerous set of keys. And the Cotswold Clefairy just can't catch a break. It's needing a miracle crit here to avoid the bottom of the barrel really here in the Mars Conference. But someone, unfortunately, is always going to be there. They have the win over the Fish Pond SuperRods to speak of. As I think just trying to stall out Draining Kiss PP at this point. And that is the turn of which they click Draining. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Actually, Palossand could maybe have done the PP stalling, but indeed would have just had to have kept clicking Shore up, and it was a near impossible guessing game. No Ancient Power raise. Here comes the Charizard. It needs a crit. It has Flare Blitz. It does not crit, though. It does get the burn, but it's very much a silver lining that means very little. And it's just unfortunate. Primarily, it is lovely play by Icy in the Yanma, and it's great to see them continue the momentum, but I think this battle could have gone a little bit more down to the wire if it weren't for that paralysis on floor just when the Klefki was still only +1. Could have put a lot more pressure on it, especially because it has no leftovers. Makes a huge difference. It's running Rocky Helmet, which is really surprising for a setup set like this, but it really has done its job well against the likes of the Charizard and the Cobalion. So you can see why, in hindsight, as Klefki is going to clean up. Protect. It's only got 4 Draining Kisses left. Maybe. There's no maybe, I think, unfortunately. The paralysis comes through sooner than I could even say it would likely eventually. But the protect. Joda believes. Oh, the double protect could have made the difference. And meant that Rotom Wash could have come in and maybe tried to get another consolation kill, but in it comes, and the Draining Kiss. The final Draining Kiss will clean it up. That was 0. That was literally the last PP of Draining Kiss. In fact, it hasn't killed it. And now Pain Split. Icy has to wait out the toxic damage. Maybe there's a crit. Maybe there's a consolation crit right here. Come on. Oh, Conkeldur's going to come in. Boo. Oh, look at that damage. A crit would have got a kill. Maybe Mach Punch. It is Mach Punch to clean up a 5-0 for the Yorkshire Yanma. Alright. A Bellossom and the Eradicate being brought by the Starmies here. They are going to make a statement against the Buckingham Bonsly, and what is probably the marquee matchup in the Miles Conference for this week. We're excited for this one because I am. And here are the Starmies. Alright. So we've got the Jirachi, Mudsdale, and Finny core. Of course, the Hawlucha is very surprising to see, I have to say, just with Zapdos being the biggest cock block in the game for it. But maybe we see Stone Edge Hawlucha try and do some threatening, but it's going to be max defense. It's going to have static, and therefore it's kind of a 5v6. Accelerock does threaten, and we'll need Ice Fang to deal with the Zygarde, but has those moves, then only Vaporeon can really safely stand in front of it. Salazzle pretty much walled by the immense bulk of Vaporeon. Honestly, just between Zygarde, Zapdos, and Vaporeon, this match looks very hard for the Buckingham Bonsly, but we'll have to see. As we start off with the Salazzle opener from the Buckingham Bonsly, and it's a Zygarde who's very happy to see that Salazzle right there, although it does get toxicked. And 1,000 Arrows immediately kills. There is no overprediction necessary because there is no such thing as a ground immunity to that move. Lycanroc doesn't learn Ice Fang. Oh, okay, so that can't do anything to Zygarde either. Well, in comes the Finny. Here is a very cool, shiny looking Bellossom. Looking very happy. Reflect is up, but I feel like Reflect doesn't really make sense against the Starmies because they don't really do attacking in the Zapdos and Vaporeon. And of course, there's all special moves, as there is Quiver Dance on the Bellossom as well. So Hawlucha is going to come in and try and do its thing. It's got Substitute. It's going to have to try and Swords Dance, and it's still literally going to do nothing because it's a Zapdos. Demonstration about how not to lose to Hawlucha is right here. It has the Stone Edge. It does hit for 84%, and it would need to have crit. Or maybe it doesn't. Hold up. Maybe we are going to lose to Hawlucha. Let's get the acrobatics. Maybe the static. Got to risk that. And it is not high jump kick. So in comes the Zygarde, who probably has extreme speed if it's coming so confidently. No, it doesn't. Just takes the acrobatics because it's so bulky. But getting rid of Zapdos does open up the game significantly for the Buckingham Bonsly. And I have to say that the Stone Edge Hawlucha did more damage than I was expecting. So here is the Tapu Fini. And Bellossom is going to come in. And this Bellossom is actually quite the threat, although it does take a significant amount from that Moonblast. Jirachi's going to come in on a Quiver Dance. What does this have? Hidden Power Fire? Hidden Power something. It's going to get iron-headed. Will it flinch for the Jirachi? It will not. It's Hidden Power Fire of sorts, Hidden Power Ground, one or the other. And crucially did not flinch because that Jirachi needs to be worn down for the stop marking his Starmies. But then what is going to kill Vaporeon still? It's going to... I don't know. We see leftovers on the Finny? We do. There's still a Alolan Marowak as well, which is an absolute terror. As the Moonblast comes in, we see no item revealed. This is probably Thick Club and about to go Big Bonks. Scald comes through, but the damage, there it is. It does nothing. Maybe it's not running. Maybe it's running Lightning Rod. Or Curse Body, and it's defensive. Well, Marowak's gone. Well, Raticate is in. This thing also hits pretty hard. Mudsdale's going to come in. Swords Dance is there. Will we see the Toxic Orb, the Burn, the Flame Orb, the Facade? How much damage can this do to Mudsdale? Here it goes. Bonk! One shot. Mudsdale is down. How fast is this? Are we just going to see Scarf Jirachi come in and flinch it, though? No, we see Lycanroc come in. Sucker Punch evaded, because, of course, that's what would have happened to the Jirachi. Substitute Lycanroc. Huh? Stone Edge kills the Raticate, who was hoping that that would be his time to eat his dinner. Vaporeon's going to come in. Let us see Vaporeon do the work. It outspeeds. It's Scarf Vaporeon. And Lycanroc goes for the Sword Dance, thinking that it could. As now the Finny comes back in. And I don't know if Scarf Vaporeon can do it. I think the Buckingham Bonsly might be okay here. We'll see. Zygarde's going to be sacked off to the Moonblast, I think. But that Bellossom is still a threat. It can still Quiver Dance. But could maybe catch a switch. It could get some HP back with the Giga Drain. That's the crucial thing. I guess we see a hard switch to Jirachi, as it has to be. As a double into the Vaporeon. But of course, Scarf Jirachi is faster and can just U-turn back into the Finny. But we may see that predicted. Vaporeon with Hidden Power Electric or something. Oh, it's Baton Pass with the Scarf back into the Bellossom. It's a double switch around right here. The switcheroo's coming through, but I guess Jirachi again just sort of comes... Oh, it just outspeeds because Bellossom's so damn slow. Never mind. Well, that was cool back and forth. And I don't know how the Buckingham Bonsly have managed to win that. Frankly, that was looking like a rough one. But Substitute Lycanroc has actually turned the battle. And the Bonslys are going to prove to continue to be the #1 threat for the Merseyside Mimikyu. Hang on. I mean, Jirachi wins it even if this freezes on the way through. The Buckingham Bonsly are going to continue to prove to be the #1 threat. Vex? The #1 threat for the Merseyside Mimikyu at the top of the Miles Conference. Probably one of the only teams that can catch them at the moment as it stands. Other than maybe the Gloucestershire Gallade, because this is just a tough one for the Stop minus Starmie speed. You've got to respect the fact that they made this as close as they did with the Bellossom and Eradicate. I'm curious what the Marowak set was, because I thought it was going to smack the Finny in the face. But I guess it was probably being brought for a mon that didn't end up coming, like Motom or something. So there you go. A 3-0 win for the Buckingham Bonsly. What a result. Their schedule has just been harder in the second half of the season, but their play has just gotten better. And it's another exciting matchup here between the Nottingham Noivern and the Super Hoopa. Overberry the Rod with max special defense. Yeah. Okay. Whoa. Forgot I had Motom. I mean, understandably, it had to be prepped for, given how happy it is to just Leaf Storm a Vaporeon and Volt Switch out on a Zapdos. Okay. This is Levi and Nelson up against each other here, right on the cusp of playoffs, as so many teams are here in the Miles Conference. There's a Liepard, there's a Magmortar. We, of course, see the Mega Morwell. There's the Glyce. Possibly, it would outspeed the Tornadus. There is the Mienshao, who has got a bit of a nightmare with the Tornadus on its hands, and it's quite happy to U-turn out in front of the Slowbro, although a Hitmontop is going to be another potential issue for it, though it is a nice threat for the likes of the Mamoswine. Zeraora has to be clicking the right move, and Hitmontop again gives it just that little bit of leeway for the Super Hoopa. That Mon happy to switch in, do its job, doesn't mind if it dies, to scout out the Zeraora's set, maybe chip it away with it with a bit of a Mock Punch action and stuff. And, of course, the option to block Volt Switches with the Mamoswine. But Close Combat and Grass Knot, huge threats that will certainly be scouted out. It's a mixed one, but I think I favour the Super Hoopa just because the Magmortar is such an issue when it gets in and is at full health, because it can't really be one-shot by anything other than, like, Gliscor and, like, Life Orb or Banded Mienshao. But I guess it doesn't do much to Goodra, so we'll see, actually. This could go either way. Zeraora is in on the opener, and it is a Magmortar in with full HP. Gets a free Fire Blast off, does hit it, importantly, with the Scarf that it clearly has, and Plasma Fist does one-shot it. I guess that's Banded or Life Orb Zeraora. It is Life Orb. There you are. And then Hitmontop in to try and threaten the kill with the Mock Punch. Is it a prediction of the Gliscor switch? No, Gliscor gets in and happily. Will it be a U-turn? Will it be a Stealth Rock? Because we know that Hitmontop isn't going to want to stay in too much, although maybe scouting out the Ice Punch. Moltres comes in, and this is maybe okay if it has Z Solar Beam or something, but maybe not wanting to test the waters with the Slowbro just yet. In comes Goodra on a future site, which could be a real annoyance for the likes of Mienshao. Beautiful move to disrupt that Mon, as Slackoff scouts out the damage from the Goodra. Crits with the Sludge Wave for 48%. Toxic misses. Really unfortunate turn for the Super Hoopa. They should be able to slack off no problem, but it is going to mean a much more likelihood of a free switch for Levi Zell on this turn, and he is going to pull the switch off. Moltres does come back in. Maybe this is Z Solar Beam, I'm convinced. If it just wanted to test the waters of Slowbro. The Toxic is off on Slowbro. It's Tailwind Moltres! The Leighton Stone Lickilicky live on here through the Nottingham Noivern. So I guess it's going to be U-turn Moltres. As the Slowbro... Oh no, it doesn't have room for U-turn. In comes the Morwile on the Slowbro. On a potential Scald. This Morwile, is it running something I don't know, or just trying to make the most of a Tailwind? Well, it's forcing through with the player up, but it doesn't even two-shot the Slowbro, who just Scalds, and as it actually didn't get burn, Magnet Rise Morwile. That is so cool for Mamoswine, but also it's still not doing anything because there's a Slowbro in front of it, so it's kind of not cool. Sucker Punch, again, brings the Slowbro down, but now the Mega Morwile is kind of gone. Will we see Slack Off from the Slowbro? We do. It's beautifully managed by Nelson and the Super Hoopa. Substitute is there from the Mienshao. Substitute Mienshao. Are we going to see like Swords Dance or something? Substitute tanks the future sight, importantly. And Knockoff will get rid of the Rocky Helmet, at least, of the Slowbro, who is continuing to be a humongous pain. And takes down the Mienshao as well. The issue is that Zeraora would usually come in these situations, but it's basically got one attack left in it because of the Scarf Magmortar ripping it down and the fact that Life Orb kills you. Huge issue with Life Orb. Gotta be so much more careful about using it, I feel like. I say as someone who used Life Orb this week, but it's such a cringe double-edged item. Anyway, thanks for the follow. Zinix, how you doing? Magnet Rise was a misclick. Wanted it later in the game. I mean, I think it's so cool that you have Magnet Rise on Morwile. I didn't even know it got Magnet Rise. But I get that it's maybe a misclick there. We have Z. Oh, is this it? It's Z flying. Oh, and it's got enough damage anyway, so who cares? I feel like, imagine imagine the battle if if Moltres just clicks Z Hurricane rather than Tailwind in front of the Slowbro and trying to force the Mawile in. I don't know. It's like... Then there's still a Mawile in the Mienshao. But it's still 4v4, and weirdly, this battle is still on. Especially with the Slowbro gone now. Mamoswine is the big Mon as it stands. Future Sight still doing a lot of damage. And Hurricane will hit to clean up on the Moltres. Yo, Muntz, what's up? Okay, back to the couch. Time for wine. Will you enjoy your wine? Zeraora is in. Is there a prediction here? Well, Hitmontop comes in. You will notice no Intimidate, and therefore Hitmontop is gone. I guess that's Technician Hitmontop looking to try and do some offensive damage with maybe an Assault Vest. So Mamoswine comes in, looks to clean up with the Ice Shard, and does so. And yeah, well, it's a Life Orb, but does it not just clean up? Well, here comes Goodra. It has to be... It is the Scarf Goodra, and it does one-shot with the Draco Meteor. No Ice Shard. Hold up. Nelson hadn't checked his calcs. Because now that Goodra is going to live a Hurricane, but Hurricane confuses the Gliscor on switching. Not that that hugely matters, because the main thing is that it hits 2 Hurricanes. So now it comes down to the Goodra. It's going to have to crit through with the Draco Meteors, I guess. Lipard comes in to try and tank one, but it's actually got Ice Beam, and it crits for 94%. Does this have T-Wave? Or any pranks to move? No. And suddenly it's a 1v1. Tornadus can definitely live one, so it's about, can Tornadus hit another 2 Hurricane? Oh, and it's Outspit, of course, because it's Scarf. Oh my god, it's going to live. And Goodra is... It's confused! It comes down to whether it hits itself in confusion to win the battle with Ice Beam. It breaks through! How have the Nottingham Noivern won that game? How? I don't understand. The battle was so beautiful and great and entertaining while also being so messy. That is a clutch Scarf Goodra right there. A signature for the Nottingham Noivern and Levi Zell this season. As they clutched it up there right at the dead. Crazy ending, 32-turn battle. And what an important matchup that is, of course. Bringing the 2 teams now to the exact same record. But... the Levi's Nottingham Noivern will move above the Super Hooper on Mon difference. We've still got replays yet to go here. And we have got the Liverpool Litten. Looking for a Joe 3-0 against the Amsterdam's Aggron. I believe their last 2 games in a row have both been 3-0s. Can they make it 3 3-0s in a row? My main question is, will they open up with the Tornadus? Because they open up with the Tornadus every single week, and every single week it gets clonked by something with a Scarf. Although, it has been living those attacks more recently, and therefore been working out just fine. And the Amsterdam Aggron have more of a habit of opening up with the likes of Nidoking, which hasn't been Scarf as often, I believe. So we've got the Magneton, a huge mon in this matchup because it completely traps and negates the Skarmory, assuming that it doesn't have a Shed Shell. But of course, Skarmory isn't always too happy to try and deal with a Gallade anyway, just because of the raw power of a Swords Dance close combat. But as long as you trade 1 for 1, it's completely fine. You've got the Gardevoir there as actually one of the biggest threats this battle, with the potential Scarf you'd expect in this match with the Moonblast to try and outspeed a non-Scarf Nihilego or Greninja, as well as the Gallade, of course, with Psyshock and Moonblast. It shreds through basically the whole team other than Serena from Full HP, and most importantly, Magneton. Magneton is a huge mon this match, actually, also with the ability to hit Sharpedo, the Bubbly Boy, and Togekiss all super effectively. But the Amsterdam Aggron have proved to be more than a curveball this season, and Joe will know that. So we'll see what sets have been brought in particular, because the items are pinnacle. It's a Tornadus opener, and it's going to be... This is totally Scarf Gardevoir as well. It's going to hit... Oh! I don't believe the amount of similarities in the Liverpool Littens turn ones this season. The fact that it lives Thunderbolt, though, fantastic for the Tornadoes. Magnet Rise is there from the Magneton. Oh my god, forcing just a Stealth Rock out of the Nidoking, but this thing's going to get chonked by the Flash Cannon. So Araquanid has to come in, but this thing is going to get dumpstered by a Magneton if it's not running a lot of bulk. The Protect is there. There is no switching to this Magneton, especially with its Magnet Rise. It is an absolute terror. Down goes the Araquanid. There's no answer to this thing. It's literally just Nidoking. And in comes Sharpedo, but this thing's going to die. Tornadus is sacked off instead. Honestly, I'm surprised. I guess it learns Earthquake. Oh, it substitutes on the sacking of the Tornadus. You wouldn't have been expecting that. Now Serena has to come in. May take a crunch to the face. Can definitely take one before it goes down. The question is, does it hit the Power Whip to break the sub? That's the important question. It has the Rocky Helmet. We've got a nice physical defense. It is running Power Whip, but it does hit. So down Serena will go. And Sharpedo has blown its load now that it has Megaed. So it's going to have to go for broke at this point. Greninja's going to come in. And it should be able to tank any move that I can think of. Unless Thunderfang is an option for Sharpedo. But it goes for the crunch instead. Grass Knot takes down the Sharpedo, which is a huge mon for threatening the other three, well, pretty much everything that's left now that Greninja is chipped. So in comes the presumed Scarfed Moonblast Gardevoir, and this is a free switch for Magneton, who's going to get another free Magnet Rise off, or apparently Nihilego, because I guess it also knows, Joe knows that it's choiced into Moonblast. So we see the Skarmory come in and takes the Sludge Wave. No problem. But Thunderbolt is there on the Nihilego, and it's Brave Bird from Skarmory. There's no Steel Wing or Iron Head. So Nihilego is actually going to be able to take down the Skarmory. This is looking rough for the Amsterdam Aggron. They may have the Mons advantage. Oh, the Psyshock. I don't know why the Skarmory was even saved at that point, and yet Joe happy to cover his bases, because the Psyshock would have killed there anyway. Most likely gets the Beast Boost, but the forced switch by the Gardevoir. Does it have Focus Blast? Does it click it? No. It's a Psychic, and that's not enough for the Magneton. Skarmory now going to be sacked off instead, but it doesn't matter because the Nidoking, the all-important mon, has been taken down. The one that could threaten the Magneton immediately. I don't know if, unless it's Fire Blast Togekiss, it's got Light Screen. Can it win? I don't think there's the versatility to win. Togekiss has Psychic rather than the coverage. I don't think Thomas and the Aggron expected Magneton to come. That's the major thing. But with Skarmory such a prime target, that's definitely an oversight. And Psychic will tickle away at the Gallade, who, to be fair, has to pretty much Zen Headbutt away here. I guess it gets access to Stone Edge, and it does hit. Crits through. Unlikely that mattered. Gardevoir's going to be able to come in. But maybe Joe can preserve the 3-0 potentially for the Joe 3-0. Oh, he actually stays in. Was willing to lose the Joe 3-0, but an over-prediction from Thomas is going to mean the 3-0 happens. It's a Joe 3-0. It's a Tornadus getting hit by a Scarfer. This is a Liverpool Litten battle, very much certified for Season 9, but an incredible one. And for the first time this season, the Liverpool Litten move to a significantly positive record here in Week 12. They will most likely be moving into the playoffs, which would usually have been a given at this point. But excitingly, we're getting close battles like this one, but it's a tough one. The Amsterdam's Aggron, because in their playoff race, this is one of their target battles that they would have liked to have won as well. So, we move on. And it's the Gloucestershire Gallade against the Ariana's Altarias. Of course, the Gloucestershire Gallade come in here with the superior record. And they will certainly be looking to win in their pursuit of a top 2 place. But the Altarias, it doesn't really matter about the Mon difference right now. They just need wins. They've got an already very healthy Mon difference. They just need the wins on the board. And it is Quagsire. Ariana with that beautifully fun core of Clefable, Quagsire, and Ferrothorn. With the offense provided by the Mega Heracross and the Talonflame and a nice bit of utility from the Persian. It's a well-rounded team. But I have to say, there isn't a ton of Mega Venusaur breakage. I mean, to be fair, Mega Heracross almost certainly does have the power to break through. And when it, I say when it gets a Sword Stance up, but that's really not easy to do. Everything is capable of hitting the Mega Heracross other than like Excadrill. Which for all I know could learn like Aerial Ace. Probably doesn't though. Mega Heracross always going to be a threat of the sort, but the issue is that Talonflame is definitely the primary source of offense for the Altarias this battle, and the big issue is that Talonflame is switched into so well by Rotom Heat. So Ariana has to have rocks up this battle, or else it's going to be a slow and depressing battle where Subson wins but can't win fast because he can't risk switching in things like the Excadrill and the Weavile without switch initiative, which he won't have because the Volt Switch from Rotom Heat is going to be blocked by Quagsire all the time, and Uxie isn't going to want to U-turn into a potentially Rocky Helmet Ferrothorn. So this is going to be a very strategic battle, but it's not going to be quite as explosive as our recent replays looking from the lineups. But who knows? We could see some like juicy sub-Primarinas, some Sword Dance. Well, it's not going to be Sword Dance, Excadrill, or Weavile because there's an unaware Quagsire on the other side. So just expect Mega Venusaur and Ferrothorn and Clefable gameplay. Primarina is the opener. Persian is here. Lovely turn 1 for Subson. Gets a free Moonblast or maybe a double if he's going to already predict the Ferrothorn coming in. And he's going to get the Reflect up. Okay. Well, that should see him quite safely from the Heracross and the Talonflame. It's very nice. Bit of tech. We are seeing a lot of screens being brought this season, it has to be said. So Rotom Heat getting its first switch in. Probably going to go for the Will-O-Wisp because the Quagsire switch is obvious. If it has Will-O-Wisp, that is. There is a Will-O-Wisp. Okay. As Quagsire forced in there to try and block the Volt Switch. But now what's going to happen? It's kind of awkward. Venusaur comes in. Quagsire goes doubling into the Heracross, but the Reflect is up. So how bulky is this Heracross? Does it have Substitute to dodge a Sleep Powder? Is the big question here. It does have Substitute. Is it Sleep Powder? It's Leech Seed. Close enough, you know? We're reading the battle right here. Reflect goes down. It's not like Clay. Heracross with Bulk up. But Venusaur hits specially, so it still breaks through the Substitute. But it's still going to do so much damage. Why did it Substitute again? It's still going to do so much damage with Pin Missile. I mean, just take the damage on the Venusaur. You're going to cripple it. It's Rock Blast, maybe predicting a switch. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't have Pin Missile. I'm surprised at the bulk up because I feel like Weavile and Excadrill are never staying in on Heracross. So the plus defense to try and set up in front of stuff doesn't really help. Sword Dance is definitely going to allow you to break through the Venusaur better. I guess it's close combat for the Excadrill, but Excadrill is going to clean it up, and the Heracross is going to go down, and importantly, Venusaur has very much lived on 46%, and between the Clefable and the Ferrothorn, Venusaur is going to be able to heal up no problem. Spikes go up from the Ferrothorn, but not Stealth Rock, the all-important hazard to screw with Rotom Heat. The Mon that is currently the thorn in the side of the Altarias, who have lost their Heracross. It's all on Talonflame, and Talonflame can't kill 6 Mons. It can probably kill 2, maybe 3. Toxic is put on the Uxio, which is very nice for the Altarias. They'll be happy with that. So Stealth Rocks go up. This is the wrong side that Stealth Rocks need to be on for the Altarias. I doubt Talonflame is running Defog, so it's going to have to go for it now. Maybe we could see Thunder Wave from Uxie, and it is running Thunder Wave. I think that's GG. It's 15 turns in. Maybe there's something the Altarias can do that I'm not thinking of. I mean, that's a lot of damage, but now there's no more Gale Wings, and this will probably be a Volt Switch from Subson, and it will not kill. Talonflame will live, maybe get one more kill off. It's Uxie, though. Not the kill you want. And in fact, it lives temporarily. Does it live after leftovers? It actually lives on 1%. Oh my goodness. Talonflame is down. There is nothing left to deal damage. Taunt from the Alolan Persian. Very cool. Future Sight actually goes up, even if it is Dark type, forcing a little bit of awkwardness for Clefable or Quagsire. And, yeah. This is now on Ferrothorn to set rocks and try and stall everything. So no HP fire on the Primarina is what it would seem like for now. Maybe Venusaur running HP Fire. I wouldn't be surprised because therefore it just destroys the entire core. But with Leech Seed, it therefore couldn't be running Giga Drain for Quagsire. So I'm thinking it probably doesn't have HP Fire. Yes, it has Synthesis. Okay. Well, Thunder Wave is there, so Ariana giving herself the options and narrow outs of a potential RNG fortune. And there is a paralysis immediately onto the Mega Venusaur. So Rotom Heat comes in. Again, the massive pain. As spikes are laid out again, but no Stealth Rocks because the Stealth Rocks must be on Clefable. That's clearly what it must be. The issue, of course, for them is that these leftovers on the Rotom Heat are a huge problem. Yeah, Future Sight is so good as a move. Doom Desire plus Future Sight on the same set for alphaness. Boom, boom. Bow, bow. It's just a very cool game, but it's over at this point, I feel like, unless Subson allows this Rotom to go down for some reason. It's just a very slow one between Mega Venusaur and Uxie and a Fable Ferrothorn. So it's a good game. Not one for the viewing, but it's a good game. I'm going to go to normal speed. There's Knockoff, Bonk. And in fairness, there's a chance of a School Burn here. Subson has got Impatient and the Toxic misses. I mean, in fairness, Quagsire is basically dead at this point anyway, thanks to that Knockoff. So I guess he's quite happy to force the issue. There's a Z on the Persian. Morwile. Weavile just happy to do all the work it can try and do. Oh, I guess Quagsire isn't dead if it comes in on the Z parting shot. Indeed, it's not. So all important that Toxic didn't connect. As Venusaur comes in, probably predicting said Toxic. Clefable comes back. Maybe Clefable can set some rocks now. No, it's not to be. Sludge Bomb predicted, and therefore Ferrothorn immediately comes in. And more spikes are laid out, but again, not the hazard for the mon that matters. But hey, the spikes are pretty much despised, especially by Mega Venusaur. So I guess that is cool. Defog will come through. Scald will not burn the Primarina. It's a Gen 7 OU game for you. This is a long way from OU. Gen 8 OU with the Galarian Slowkings and the Slowbros with the teleport. That's what it's all about. That was the pit of Pokemon, I feel like, Gen 8 OU. Gen 9 is probably more entertaining from what I've heard, though I've watched and played no games of it because I think it's ridiculous. But the wish comes down. I mean, I should hope Gen 9 OU is way more exciting than Gen 8 OU, just because you can't get much worse than Gen 8 OU. You really can't. Subson's being very impatient. Well, he's going to kill the Quagsire if he puts the pressure up and just keeps clicking Overheat. So, like, why not? As long as he saves some Overheats for the Ferrothorn. He's still got 6 left. Like, he can play like this. It's fine. Stealth Rocks have gone up on turn 47. Ferrothorn has a chance if it can actually hit Rotom Heat with, like, whatever its last... Ooh. Doesn't hit Rotom Heat. In fact, Power Whip misses. If I was wondering if it had Knockoff, that would be a huge play. And Rotom Heat is the Megamon right now that's kind of stopping from Ferrothorn going for the win. So that's the big one. In fact, that could have been huge, depending on the damage that Power Whip was able to do. And the options for Ariana are slimming down with no Persian. Spikes go up from the Ferrothorn, but more leftovers recovery from Rotom Heat. Will-O-Wisp is surprising, as opposed to the Volt Switch if you were predicting a switch, but hey. Extra is going to come in. Maybe it has Spin as well or something, I don't know. Stealth Rocks go up. That's the all-important move, but Rotom Heat is going to come in, predicting a switch into the Ferrothorn. Very aggressive from Subson, but it is, of course, the correct play. It looks to go for the Defog, and Ferrothorn... Oh, doesn't look to go for the Defog. He went for the Overheat. Ariana getting the right 50-50 call this way. And Defog will be getting rid of those Stealth Rocks. So, happy times for Rotom Heat. Able to stay in for long enough. Volt Switch crit. rocks do go up. Toxic, of course, is on the Primarina, and it really seems like it's just there to set some screens and do a little bit of damage. Ferrothorn is there. And we know Primarina can't seem to touch this Ferrothorn, so Rotom Heat's going to come in. This is where it has to be caught by a move, and its Leech Seed is the final move, but this just means it's going to be Volt. Well, I guess it might not be Volt Switch, because then Rotom Heat is very close to dead, but actually, of course, it's in Overheat range, thanks to the Volt Switch crit, and that was a little bit uncomfortably close. You can see why Ariana forced that all the way, because there was maybe a margin with some better RNG rather than some completely unfavorable RNG. This Rotom Heat could have been punished. I mean, ultimately, I think with the raw attacking power of knockoff Weavile and Excadrill with Earthquake, there's a good chance that Ferrothorn could have just died to the overpowerment of damage, because it doesn't have Protect to go with its Leech Seed, and it doesn't have leftovers to help it heal as well. It has the Rocky Helmet, Iron Barbs. It's going to get a couple bonus kills, so it'll end up being a 3-0, but of course for the Ariana Altarias, they have the Mon difference to work with. A big win for the Gloucestershire Gallade in their hunt of top 2. So, our final non-featured replay right here. And it is the Red Hill Regirock against a very familiar opponent for them. It's, of course, debutantes, the Fish Pond SuperRods, in an all RLCS admin matchup. And you're right, there is a Crawdon. Crikey, mate. That's a big logo. Alright. Here we go. Big SuperRods. We see the Zoroark fun as well. Breloom has come. One of the first uses of Breloom I can really record this season. And well, with no grass type to absorb it, and no answer really at all, apart from outspeeding it and accepting a sleep fodder, this is going to be one of the freest spores you are going to see. And it's a nice bring of the Breloom. I think Finchy very happy, very comfortable. There's been a couple of situations where the Fish Pond SuperRods have been able to get their first win on the board this season, truly, but I haven't always executed. Maybe they can get themselves into a situation like that this battle, but it's never going to be easy against such a stubborn core of Toxapex, Heatran, and Gligar backing up a Mega Sizzle, so we'll see. In comes the Toxapex immediately, probably looking for some Toxic Spikes, as Night Days immediately hits. Toxic Spikes are landing because, of course, there's no Poison type to absorb them, so everything apart from Latias and, oh, this is obviously Zoroark, and the Aggron, going to be poisoned until they're defogged away, so double Toxic Spikes are in fact laid out, and in fact Cresselia, because that has Levitate as well. Disable! But I mean, I guess maybe Cofagrigus is expecting to be slower, because the Toxic Spikes were already set. The Trick Room is set, as in comes the Lava Plume. Here is the Crawdaunt, looking for a Clonker. Who can it clonk? Well, Whimsicott is here. Bonk, Crabhammer, over half percentage, but it's red card, eject button, sorry, to bring in the Toxapex at full health. No problem with now no risk of being two-shot by some crazy knockoff action, as we see a lot of damage to the Scizor, as it's very well managed. But an Aguave Berry on the Crawdaunt means, in fact, it has got more life in it. Holy shit, that's cool. It was very well managed by the Red Hill Regirock, because that is a scary Crawdaunt that was putting on a lot of pressure from the SuperRods. And it's Spore from Breloom catching the Latias. Leech Seed goes up. We are seeing the Spore Leech Seed set, but I can't imagine that Focus Punch is going to do too much to a Cresselia. But we are going to find out. With Moonblast, of course, still being favoured. Bonk. That is 15%. Okay. Moonblast is going to do a fair bit of damage. Substitute goes back up. Probably hoping for a switch away from the Cresselia. Finchy trying to catch out. And with so much heal from the Poison Heal, then why not give it a spin? Well, Scizor is in and relatively healthy. You can look for, oh, another Aguave Berry. Aguave Berries unite. U-turn is there. Launching into the Breloom, and suddenly Aggron is much more uncomfortable again. Cofagrigus forced in. And it's just going to be Leech Seeded and poisoned away, you would expect. Disable gets rid of the Leech Seed, which is cool. Are we going to see some Destiny Bond? Not that it's going to work, because... Oh, a Salakberry Coppergregus! It is Destiny Bond. This is all very cool, but it's going to die over time, so it's not going to bring the Breloom down with it. So Cresselia in on the Focus Punch. Going to take another tickling 14%. Yo, Sigmoid is running some crazy sets this week for the SuperRods. They're not really working, but they're the likes of which we haven't seen before, and yet in a specific situation, they're actually kind of viable. Earthquake is there from the Aggron, who refuses to Mega because it wants to be weak to Scald, and it doesn't get burnt. And Recover is there to stall out the damage. As Burn will proc from the Scald. And it's about whether Trick Room can be set up again with the Crawdaunt in. Because otherwise I can't see kills coming the way of... Because that was Zoroark. Do we kill Toxapex with Mega? I don't think Mega Aggron gets much more attack than normal Aggron, to be fair. I assume it maybe was just trying to retain Rock Stab for a Head Smash or something. Not that that would have had the power to break through Gligar. And keep Rockhead for that purpose, maybe? I don't know. But if Breloom is in like this, then Crawdaunt is not going to be able to claim any kills. And we're unfortunately probably going to be looking at another 6-0 here. As this is not favouring the Cresselia over time, even if Focus Punch basically does nothing. Just because of the burn and the Leech Seed being so brutal. Sizzle can come back in for free. And get another free U-turn here. Aggron may be forced in. And then we'll see the Breloom come back in. Or Cresselia will be sacked off, understandably. Fire Punch is there from the Aggron. Yeah, substitute once again the option. There's so much healing for the Breloom. Could just sub up again. But instead, trying to get some Flash Fire, Finchie goes into the Heatran. It's not to be, though. Heavy Slam, the move of choice as Latias comes in, but it is a sleep. So we see Dark Pulse, offensive Heatran, able to two-shot the Latias. Maybe Crawdaunt can pick the right move. Guessed correctly as Toxapex, unfortunately, is the one that comes in. And Crabhammer is the move of choice. It was going to have to be knockoff and hope for a crit on the first or second. But with Protect and the Toxic from Toxic Spikes, this battle will be ending 6-0. A perfect match played by the Red Hill Regirock, who could really use the Mon difference as well. And the teams above them may have already played the SuperRods. I'm not sure. It's a significant result for the Red Hill Regirock, as we have just one battle left here in the Miles Conference. And it's a featured matchup, in fact. The Bradford Bulu and the Portishead Ponyta, which we'll be talking to Objectively Tim about. So we're going to shut this music off, and I'm going to get into a call with the lovely Objectively Tim. And we will be right back with you as soon as we can be. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the featured matchup here in Week 12 of Smiles Go for Miles Draft League. I am joined by, objectively, Tim, the coach of the Bradford Bulu you see here on the near side, and their opponent for this week was the Portishead Ponyta. Now, if you look at the channel point prediction, Tim, for some reason, it's a 95% weighting in terms of channel points for the Portishead Ponyta in their favour against you. I don't know what you have to say to that and what you have to say about what was going through your mind prepping heading into this matchup.
Hello. So for the channel points prediction, people want points. They can force you to wear a penguin suit, so I respect it.
Actually, that's true.
In terms of prep, most of it was done very late the night before because I forgot. So I did some calcs, and a lot of things died to Scarf Kite and Black Clicking Ice Beam.
That's fair.
The one thing I didn't calc for was a Froakie.
Yes.
So
this is, I'm assuming, kind of an annoyance given how hard it can hit Landorus and Metagross, but with Sableye and Rotom Fan, maybe things are okay. I mean, if you can get rid of the Garchomp, then you can freely Volt Switch and maybe take advantage of Harry's own electric terrain, but it does seem like this is a kind of wild match that can go either way depending on your sets.
Yeah, so Lando's a support set for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Rotom Fan is not a normal set.
I'm excited to see the Rotom Fan then. I'm curious what you have for hazards, because obviously there's a Fortress, and that kind of forces you to open Mega Sableye if you don't have Defog. But you say this is support Landorus.
Just ignore hazards, generally.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you can ignore bringing your own hazards, but with Mega Sableye, if you can get free hazards by bouncing them back, I feel like that's a W. But
yeah.
So you're telling me you don't have Defog anywhere?
No, I do not.
Okay, that is alpha. I completely respect that. So heading into turn one, what are you thinking? Have you been analysing Harry's games? You thinking he's just going to open Coco for terrain, or maybe Fortress or Garchomp for rocks?
I was expecting Fortress opening.
Okay.
So I lead Lando for my own Stealth Rocks.
But you said you ignore hazards, and you're...
Yeah, well, I ignore them when they're on my side.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Right. So you're looking to trade some rocks. Is it going to be the Fortress? That's the question. It is Fortress. And here I am kind of thinking Sableye would have been amazing, but you get the knockoff. Okay.
So I just assumed the Fortress was going to Rapid Spin, predicting Stealth Rocks, and so I click knockoff.
Fair enough.
I click Stealth Rocks, and I was just like, oh yeah, you could have also have done that.
That's fair. I guess you can click your rocks now? You just hit it.
I actually I don't.
I mean, there's no ground immunity, so your Earthquakes are kind of free, to be fair. This has gone fine. Are you going to U-turn out?
No,
yeah. Yeah, this is... I mean, I don't know what the Scrafty's going to do. You get the Sableye in. Oh, is it this some sort of sleeping, shed skin, resting weirdo set, huh?
It's... I think it's a shed skin set. I think it's revealed later on.
Toxic? Yeah, this is the Spadef Rest Shed Skin set. You kill this with Air Slash maybe, but you say it's not a... You say this is not a... No.
It's Spec Rotom Fan, so it does indeed kill with Air Slash.
Nice. So you're fine. But how do you get it in safely?
That's a great question.
All right. I'm excited for what comes. You're keeping me on edge right now. Ice Punch? Clearly Harry predicting, but forgetting.
Yeah, Ice Punch did a very small amount of damage, and I was quite happy with that.
It is a Scrafty, and it is probably max Spadef as well, so it's doubled an attack that is not that much, and this is the problem with Scrafty. But hey, you got to respect him Ice Punching, not just for damage, but covering off the Rotom switch.
So I see how little damage it's done, and just click recover, pretty much.
Chad. So the Fortress is now like... He's just accepted the Scrafty set just... It's taken too long to set up. Is this a Volt Switch? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm actually very curious about the switch out of Sableye now. Can you explain the Metagross play for me, just because I'm kind of in the dark about it?
What did I write down?
I don't know. I can't see
I was expecting a Toxic, and I was just like, oh, well, if I go into Metagross, then no Toxic.
But also your Magic Bounce, so you can't be
True,
toxic.
actually.
Unless it was
That's
like
a
Mold
very good
Breaker.
point.
You forgot you were Magic Bounce because you care not about hazards. This is what I'm thinking. You care not at all about hazards. Therefore, your Sableye is kind of just a bonus Sableye that trades Prankster for more defense.
Yes.
And doesn't actually get an ability. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, to be fair, if it was like Mold Breaker or Terra Volt or something like that, then it would get the Toxic through. That's why Toxic Mega Ampharos is sometimes a thing. But like, I mean, to be fair, the way this Fortress has been brought in, it definitely can't do anything to Mega Sableye, right? And so,
No, it's...
That's a shame. I feel like if you stay in and knock off, like, something's losing its item. Other than maybe, say, Scrafty. But if Scrafty comes back in, well, then it just lost its +2. That's a shame. But Metagross is in.
Metagross is in. This is a banded Metagross.
Holy alpha. You got Specs Rotom, banded Metagross. You're about to somehow live this, even though... I mean,
No,
what is this thing gonna click?
It clicks Thunderbolt, and Metagross dies, because Metagross is literally made of paper.
Are you, like, banded with speed?
I'm banded with speed and also enough special defense to live a Thunderbolt from a Coco on full. But I'm not on full because of Stealth Rocks. So...
Do you bullet punch for the damage because you're banded if you know you're going to die?
For the damage.
Respect. That's a lot of damage. Okay. You know what? That's cool. That is okay. It's the one you would have wanted to get damage off on anyway. And it's Life Orb revealed, so now you know it's not Scarf, which is cool.
Yes, and so I know I can come into Kyron Black here, which is Scarfed and does outspeed and does probably click a button and something dies.
I mean, with Fortress there, it kind of has to be sacked because it's not going to live 2 Ice Beams, huh? So the rocks. This is why we love hazards. Bonk. Down it goes. But now you have to put up with probably like a Scrafty or something. Oh, this thing.
Yes, this thing.
Right. So it is actually Protean, right? Did we allow that?
It is Protean.
Okay,
yes.
So this thing is just going to be like ninjaing about. I don't know. I don't even know what to expect out of this thing. Honestly, it's cool that Harry has brought it. Sableye's here, but what if it has Dazzling Gleam? I don't know if it gets access to that. It doesn't get access. Oh, easy clap. Nice.
I was expecting probably either Ice Beam or a fighting move. I didn't know which one it got.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
So
that's perfect. I didn't know which fucking. I don't know what it gets. I'd have to look it up. I have to. If I was in this situation, I'm literally looking for its moveset and thinking, hang on a minute, I don't know enough to click this. Oh, you're running the fake out Sableye.
I'm running fake out for a bit of.
I feel like you run fake out Sableye not for the damage because it hits like a wet flannel, but more because it stalls out turns of electric terrain.
Yes,
which is kind of cool.
A couple of turns of toxic as well.
Yeah, nice.
I did think, oh, maybe it's Shed Skin at this point.
Yeah.
But Shed Skin didn't proc, so it's fine.
All right, so now you can switch in the Rotom safely because it's not +2. Loving it. Okay, you're keeping up the tempo. Look at this. You're winning.
It bulks up again.
You're on top. I mean, you're forcing a switch to something. This thing's dead.
Yeah, so Coco gets sacked for electric terrain.
Okay.
That's the specs there / damage coming in.
All right. There's a lot of people getting their hopes up right now based on their channel points. But this thing is fast.
It's fast. But it also doesn't do... What did I do here?
I mean, I feel like this is the time Lando's going to come in, right?
Okay, so I switch into Lando because I'm predicting T-Bolt, Volt Switch, whatever.
Okay. Is this the time where Harry goes, I'm a Giga Chonk going to like Z-Surf or something? I assume it can run that. Because this has to be a prediction if he's going to turn the tides right now. Ooh. But I guess it still probably has Hidden Power Ice.
Yes.
Okay.
However, because this is a defensive Landorus, I know it lives at Hidden Power Ice.
Nice.
I can just click knock off and it dies.
Whew. You're slapping it. Bonk.
Bonk.
Okay, 5v3, but you're chipped and rocks are still up, and you've got a Rotom Fan and a Houndoom, and I kind of forgot you had a Houndoom, I'll be honest, and a Kyurem. Okay. So
here I go into Houndoom predicting Ice Beam.
Fair enough. I mean, Houndoom's probably the least important. 16.
Oh, wait, no, I go into Sableye. Never mind.
Okay.
I forgot what turn we're on.
All right. I'm just thinking if this thing decides that I'm going to click Hydro Pump or something. But then it looks like it might be physical. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Okay. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. He does say I've thrown on the chat in battle, and you guys can't see that, but we can. It's a fair bit of damage from the Ice Beam. Hoping, he's literally just praying for freeze at this point. Are you knocking off to get rid of its Scarf, or?
No, I should have done this, but I didn't. I clicked Toxic.
I mean, maybe you expected a switch, but then, if anything, that Scrafty's already switched. So I think we were both wrong, Tim. You should have clicked Recover.
Did I have Recover? I don't remember.
You definitely have Recover.
I think I had Recover. I don't remember.
Okay, well, Toxic at least Toxic hits. All right.
But now this Sableye is not in a good position, so now I go into Houndoom.
I'm scratching my forehead, Tim. I think it's fine to go to Houndoom predicting an Ice Beam if you think you can get the switch off, but how is Sableye gonna like contribute?
It's not. It's just there to because
are you playing for Mon difference at this point? Is that what you're telling me? Are you that confident you've got the win in the bag at this point that you're playing for Mon difference?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay.
What do my notes say?
Actually, it does have Fake Out, so it can contribute to an extent, but you would probably.
That was it. I wanted to get it back in for another Fake Out.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That was my reasoning. So again, into Houndoom, predicting it to be choice.
Do you have like Sucker Punch?
Yes, I do, but I don't click it because I'm an idiot.
Oh, I mean, maybe
I do click it here.
Okay. Are you? What item is this Houndoom?
It is Dark Z.
Okay, so you're just gonna slap this Scrafty.
I don't click Dark Z. I also could have clicked Overheat. It would have killed Scrafty. Didn't click Overheat. Clicked Dark Pulse for some reason. Don't know why.
Maybe you were predicting the. I mean, to be fair for Harry, the situation is so dire for him that a very realistic play is doubling into Scrafty, then hard switch into Garchomp, predicting a flamethrower or something.
I think I probably should have at least clicked Z Dark.
I don't even know if that would have killed, to be honest,
Probably
Tim. This thing
killed,
4 times resists.
Yeah. So I probably should have clicked Overheat. But I didn't. And now it's dead. And now the
yeah, but you have a Landorus and you have a Rotom fan. Like.
Yeah.
I don't like the tone of your voice, Tim. You're making me nervous. Scarf, Outrage, brrr, or Ice Beam. Oh, no!
Yeah.
It's fine. You live, but you're now staying in and...
Finally shed Skin Procs.
Oh, my God.
And then I get a bit lucky.
Freeze Beam! Oh, my God.
But it actually doesn't matter because Greninja is Scarfed and...
Yeah.
Cleans up everything.
Oh, it does.
Scarf Ice Beam.
Yes, it does. You're right.
So, yeah.
Well, this was a battle. Does it not... Could you not Fake Out with Sableye for more toxic damage, Tim?
I do that next turn.
Oh, but you should... I mean, it probably wouldn't have mattered. But it would have been one...
I don't think it matters just because I don't have anything on Rotom Fan to hit.
To Garchomp, yeah. Okay. That's fair. I mean, if you like crit Fake Out, and you know, maybe you get to keep Lando and Rotom Fan for the Garchomp. Maybe.
And then we go into Sableye, clicks Fake Out to preserve Mon difference.
Oh. Well, to be fair, it ended up being safe for Mon difference, and it's done just that.
And then Garchomp just comes in and wins because it's a defensive Landorus set.
Has Aqua Tail. Damn.
Yep.
That is a shame. But that was still well played. I loved your sets as well. Like, these was cool sets. You put yourself in a very commanding position. Specs. Triple choice. Triple choice, Tim.
See, I don't usually like running choice items, but I thought I'd shake it up a bit and run 3 of them.
Triple choice. That was mad. Harry has literally jailbroken that game. And commending to him for the fact that he also broke through the disfortune of a freeze beam striking. Just a 1-0 scoreline, which means a lot of people's channel points are very safe. By any chance, did you bet on the Ponyta Ponyta?
I did not.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
There wasn't much to be earned in this particular scenario, but damn, that's so conflicting. But that's why we play the game. So, with that being said, with that 1-0 scoreline, see how this affects the standings, Tim. Break down the Miles Conference for us, because I don't want to hear about the Miles Conference. I trust you, Tim, but everyone in the Miles Conference seems to be a little bit deluded when it comes to this Miles Conference. So I might have to censor you if you try and say bad things about the Miles Conference. But how do you see things right now? I mean, this is really unfortunate because it was just a 1-0 scoreline. And it could have been 4 and 8, still within touching distance of most of the pack. But you know what? That's okay because you're still above Failures.
Yeah. Because of only losing 1-0.
Exactly.
Is okay. I say okay. I'm minus 25, but it's like, you know, good compared to the things below me.
It is true that it's half of Sigmoid's is a significant difference. But I mean, we've actually got a complete Miles standings here, of course, with every single game being completed, and of course we've got double digits here at the top. Mostly Mimikyu with a bye, plus 32 mon difference, but the Bonsly are right up there at 10 and 2 as well. They still have a pretty difficult schedule remaining, but do you think the Buckingham Bonsly are also going to be remaining in the top 2? Do you think the Mimikyu are going to stay in the top 2, Tim?
I think the Mimikyu are pretty set on the top 2 now.
Yeah, me too.
My prediction, mainly because I think the remaining schedule is pretty good for them.
Yeah, I think they, yeah.
Rai is pretty good at Pokemon.
Yeah, they're all right. They're okay. I mean, they'll say that the schedule is really hard, as will the Buckingham Bonsly, but I agree. I think this is the top 2 I'm expecting, unless Subzin and Sniper can win some critical head-to-heads. But do you think that these 2 round out the top 4? Because the Ponyta Ponyta, I mean, you made them look silly for most of that matchup, but with their schedule, I think a lot of people are thinking they could crack into the top 4, maybe even higher.
I think the Ponyta Ponyta have the team to get into the top 4. I kind of expect the Multicoon Mimes to slip up somewhere.
Mm.
And then one of Subzin and Sniper will throw at some point in time.
I mean, if Tim says it, that's just how it is, guys. That you can't really disagree with that. I mean, I think you're right with the Multicoon Mimes and the Super Hoopa. From what we've seen with them out of the Monologue race, things have been very tumultuous. But we have Nottingham Noivern and the Liverpool Litten. The Liverpool Litten are positive by 2 games, and they're back into playoffs. It feels like nature is healing, but it's also bizarre because the Altarias are in 10th despite 14 mon difference.
I do think Ariana has been generally quite unlucky. Hence the 14 mon difference. So I think with a few good results, they could be up back in, I don't know, top 5.
Top 5? Altarias to make top 5 would be quite the comeback. Well, where does it start?
I think it's manageable. Top 5 is currently 8 and 4.
I mean, it's definitely mathematically possible, so I can't disagree or call it out too much. In terms of the schedule to try and get towards top 5, the Altarias play the Nottingham Noivern, and there's a lot of stacked matches here. Tim, the Mimes against the Starmies, even the Yanma against the Super, the Bonsly against the Litten, the Gallade against the Merseyside Mimikyu. You play the Fish Pond SuperRods. Is that a game you're looking forward to or dreading?
I'm looking forward to it mainly because Sigmoid brings weird sets, and I also like bringing weird sets, so it's going to be a battle of weird sets. I like
your thinking. The Ponyta Ponyta are definitely going to win, and therefore get themselves potentially further up the order as well, because they got a safe bye week. So I don't know. It's kind of still so very much up in the air. We have, what, 5 weeks of gameplay left? It is 5 weeks of gameplay left. How high do you think you can finish? Do you think there's a chance of playoffs, or do you think that ship has sailed right now?
No.
I think you might have had to have
never been a chance of playoffs.
I think if you won that Ponyta Ponyta game that we've just talked about, Tim, I think you could have won that game maybe 3-0, and then you are definitively still in the situation. Obviously, you'd probably have to win out, but you can't rule that out.
my Pokemon abilities let me down more than enough to not make sure I don't get playoffs.
That's not fair. Only in 1 or 2 turns per battle do you display a bit of questionability, and like clicking Dark Pulse on a Scrafty or clicking Toxic on it. But then Toxic on a Frogadier doesn't ever feel like a bad play. Only felt like that in hindsight. So
well,
really,
I figured it would lose to Toxic, but it didn't because it still does a lot of damage because of stab.
yeah. I mean, Toxic isn't a bad move. It's just that knockoff secures the outspeed for Kyurem. That's it. So you still have the Clefairy yet to play as well. Could this be a 2-win streak potentially? Then the Red Hill Regirock. I mean, you're playing teams around you.
I could get a couple of wins,
Yorkshire
but that is an ideal world.
Nottingham Noivern?
I'm not looking forward to the Yorkshire Yanma. They're on a hot streak.
The Bulus are going to go 5-0 to win the season, and then you're going to look back at that Ponyta game in pain.
Yeah.
It's going to be 8-9 finish, and will 9-8 be enough to make playoffs? I think maybe. It's just going to come down to Mon difference. There's so many
My
players.
Mon difference is apocalyptically bad.
I don't think it's apocalyptic. I mean, no, you're down 6 games. It's not apocalyptically, because like you got to think, how many games are you down? 6 games, because it's 3-9. So you're losing by just over an average of 4.
If I win remaining 5 games, 5-0, I get to 1 difference of 0.
Yeah. that is fair. You know what? Fair. It's not apocalyptically, but it's suboptimal. This is Smiles Conference, but I don't want your thoughts on the Smiles Conference because you're part of the cult. So, with that, do you have any closing words? You can talk about what you want. You can spread any Bradford Bulu propaganda that you would like. It's been lovely having you on. I don't know if there's anything I've forgotten though.
I don't think so. Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Well, I'm sure chat and everyone enjoyed listening to your thoughts on that game, that crazy back and forth game that ended up finishing 1-0 to the Portishead Ponyta. Everyone dreams of being in a featured matchup where they win. Of course, we saw the Liverpool Litten be less fortunate earlier in the season, but that has been righted and corrected now. So in terms of next week, our featured matchup to look forward to, of course, please, ladies and gentlemen, get your matches done on time. We don't have a featured matchup officially as it stands next week. So if you want to be on stream, just like Tim was today, then make sure to get yourself marked on the sheet. Message Horizon, message me, and we can try and work something out. The Mon leaderboard is done. That's what I was forgetting. Top of the Mon leaderboard is probably still Kartana. It's still Kartana. Goodra is up into the mix. Scarf Goodra overtaking Raikou and Clefable. Ash Greninja slowly climbing as well. The Lycanroc also up and into the top 10. And also into the top 10 is Conkeldurr from the Yorkshire Yanma. So those are the major changes at the top. Who is the most in pain? Is it still Cresselia? It is still Cresselia. Numbers speak for themselves. Sad for Jaeger, but no one feels bad when it's Cresselia. It's Cresselia.
I think it's Sableye got a kill, so it's a.
Did it move up?
Itself. I don't know if it
did
it moved down.
No, it definitely did because you went from. Well, yeah, it will have.
1-8 to 2-9.
That's an improvement because it takes kills over. So you have moved past the Landorus and the Machamp and the Zoroark. So it is a dub for Glint. It is a dub for Glint. With how powerful Knockoff was, maybe it could have killed a Frogadier, but we're not going to talk about that because that hurts thinking about that. So Exclamation Point Discord is there for any new people who are interested in joining the Draft League. As you can hear, we are all lovely. Tim had nothing but good vibes because that is what Tim is like. We will see you next week. It will be another Sunday stream. I will see you tomorrow, of course, for Rocket League and hopefully Emerald Kaizo. Who knows, maybe Marbles as well. And in the evening, at around 7 p.m. GMT, you might hear more of Tim on Rule 332 because it is the Monolock race from Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 to 9 GMT. Looking forward to that. I will be live for probably a combined 7 or 8 hours tomorrow. So hopefully going to see plenty of you and hopefully plenty of you, Tim. Thank you very much once again. Okay.